in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
All right, I think we might be good. Everything sounds good. Welcome into this Friday, free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Technical difficulties definitely just got us. As soon as we started everything up, I kid you not, the whole system just completely froze and I couldn't do anything. Good thing is everything's still running as I just restarted the system. So welcome in, everybody. Sorry for the delay, technical difficulties, all that stuff. But hey, it's live radio. It happens sometimes. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready for a free-for-all Friday, meaning we're going anywhere and everywhere today. No guests lined up, so that means we're going to take calls the whole way, 205-342-9904. Got some news to talk about regarding football. We'll dive into that. But I want to talk a little bit of basketball with the big game against Tennessee tomorrow. And listen, I will say this. Everything as of now seems like we're going to roll with the plan of playing Bediako, former G League pro, who's now back in Tuscaloosa. I want to talk about that a little bit more because it's been making waves around the country, right? And I've heard a whole bunch of snippets from other radio shows and media outlets and all that good stuff. And they've been chiming in. And a lot of people, man, Reed, I'll just say this. They're not too fond of this whole idea of Bediako playing, even though it has somewhat happening with a couple other situations, some foreign players that played pro overseas. There's, some instances with that. We'll talk a little bit about that, compare some of it. But as of now, it appears that the plan is to play Bediako tomorrow against Tennessee, which that all is starting to tie into some more attention on Alabama right now. I've even seen people going as far as, which this is a big reach, Reed, people seeing the post about walk-on tryouts, which we've done for years. Matter of fact, every single year there's always been walk-on tryouts, typically around this time, like winter/spring, or right before spring most of the time, to get guys, if you need more bodies for spring practice. And then also sometimes around the fall, maybe whenever the timing is. I don't know exactly. I just know we've always done walk-on tryouts. And I think people are going as far as maybe reaching with that, and trying to combine it with the whole Bediako situation. I don't know. People just like having a reason to talk about Alabama, it seems. But we want to talk about all that and more when we come back. But first, we got to hit our timeout. But don't forget, today is the day R&R Cigars will be celebrating their 14th anniversary. So if you guys are free this evening and you're looking for something to do, make sure you guys go check them out. 2703 Gary Fitztree is where you can find them. Again, it's a special celebration. They're celebrating with Bobby Newman of JC Newman, and they will be giving away a free trip to their factory and a hotel down in Tampa. That does kick off around 5 p.m., so make sure you guys go check it out. There's going to be great deals going on, plenty of cigars going around, the best humidor in the Southeast. I saw Reagan post some pictures of all the boxes that they have. It's going to be a great turnout, so make sure you guys check them out. And if you're ever looking for some of those deals, you can always go to their website, rnrcigars.com, where you can place your order. Use that code Miller's Edge to get yourself a discount. And I think you get free shipping, depending if the order does qualify. So they got all that for you right there on the website, rnrcigars.com. Again, 2703 Gary Fitztree is where you can find them here in Tuscaloosa for that celebration for their 14th anniversary this evening, again, 5 p.m. at R&R Cigars. That is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. We got to hit our first timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday. Again, phone lines open the whole way. 205-342-9904 is number. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Brooke Meisner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. This is your invitation to save more. Every new Hyundai with our best value price and exclusive million-mile warranty. Come see us at Tuscaloosa Hyundai and drive home happy.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Dolly Tide edition is clean, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are rocking with it. I don't know if any of you guys speak Spanish, or you don't even have to speak Spanish. If you just want a little, a little flair, a little flavor, right, with your Roll Tide apparel, let me know. I can start making some. I can make some Dolly Tides. I should have brought I didn't bring it in here, the Miller's Edge hat to show you guys, but we'll definitely start probably rolling some of that stuff out. We got some stuff planned for you guys. So it's going to. Okay, I was about to say, please don't do it again. Don't do it again. That's the last thing we need. All right, let's see. Now, let me be careful. That's when it froze. I was trying to get my screen sorted out. All right, cool. We're good. I don't know what the world happened. I apologize. Who we got in here? Mike, what's up? Jake, happy Friday. T, y'all be safe this weekend. Yeah, I've been keeping up with it. I think it's, heading a little bit more north now, so it might not be as bad as it originally was expected to be, but still, you're right. Everybody be safe. I think it's affecting like the whole country damn near. Big winter storm. Dwight, what's up, man? Did you tag us in something, Dwight? Do I need to go look? Why are these people making a big deal over Bama holding his walk-on tryouts? Yeah, that's always been a thing. I mean, that goes back to, hell, when I was here. A while ago. Matter of fact, I think there was that clip. That was what we needed. The main thing I want to start with is we're going to talk about the new playoffs. Well, not new playoffs, but the latest with the college football playoffs. But I thought I saved something about that whole deal. Here it is. Yeah, people just talking crazy about Alabama, man. Let's get back Robert Ory and Sprewell. Those guys are definitely probably out of that eligibility window. Definitely out of that eligibility window. Let's see. Not that one. I need that.
This is enough. And it's seen properly.
Let's talk
I've come around to this.
I want to start with this a little bit. We got some calls we'll get to as well early. Like I said, it's a free-for-all Friday. We don't have any guests. I know we've been lined up so much with guests, so I haven't been able to get to you guys as much. So we're going to just dedicate pretty much as we can to this show to you guys.
I've come around to this. But I also have not come around to getting to a system that's bigger than this, because I think this is more than enough. Notre Dame being left out also keeps some modicum of integrity on the regular season. And this is enough. And it's seen properly.
Let's talk about how it will work next season, because there are changes to the format. This is not something that just got agreed upon today. This is something that they agreed upon several years ago. Well, I guess a year ago, when they did their new TV deal for this next 6 years.
I'll stop it here.
Not something that
we'll wait for radio to play that. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, but just the latest with the whole playoff system. I know we talked a little bit about potentially expanding to 16, 24. We'll dive into the latest here. Plus, we got to talk about the latest edition. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm not going to impersonate James Spann, but I will say winter storm is incoming, so make sure you guys are safe. I do know it seems like it's kind of moving a little bit more north, so Tuscaloosa might not have it as bad, but I know we have listeners literally all over the country. That said, you guys make sure you take care of yourselves and be careful if you're heading out on that road or wherever you might be, but definitely make sure you got some heaters or stuff ready, because allegedly it might get cold. And Reed, I'll just tell you this, man, having my HVAC act up a few weeks ago and then literally not have heat for a night, I'm not gonna lie, man. You realize how grateful you should be to have the simple things when stuff like that comes up. So I hope you guys are ready for a pretty cold weekend/week. I think next week's going to be even colder. That said, before we dive into some of this playoff talk, before we dive into some of the Bediako stuff like we've been talking about, I do want to bring up the most recent addition that Alabama has added to this one actually comes from their recruiting class. Reed, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday it appears that Alabama's still not done adding. There's still some work that they're doing in terms of building this roster, filling some holes. And we've talked about, there's been a lot of holes from this roster, where there's been, departures from the NFL draft, where there's guys entering the transfer portal. Now, we filled a number of spaces. I want to say 18 guys, more or less, via the transfer portal. But still, there's some opportunities available, especially with the new scholarship rules and all that good stuff. So expected there to be a little bit more movement, especially with another signing day quickly approaching. And, that means there's going to be some opportunities. And that probably comes, with guys that might not necessarily in the past would have had the opportunity to play at Alabama, but because the new scholarship rules and, just the need for depth pieces, we've seen some guys earn some opportunities. And the latest is a young man that's a wide receiver from, I believe, Moody, Alabama, who earned himself a scholarship here and ended up committing. And a lot of people are excited about this. As a matter of fact, Brandon Clear, a former Clemson wide receiver who joined us yesterday, like he does on Thursdays here on the show, he left he posted a nice tweet kind of giving his breakdown, a little bit of insight on this young man. Again, Moody High School wide receiver Aubrey Walker, 5'10", 180 pounds. Allegedly, he's clocked at like a laser 4.3, which is really fast. Earned that scholarship and committed to Alabama, according to Andrew Bone, who posted that yesterday. But here was Brandon's insight on the young man after watching some. He said, this kid pops on film, adds depth to the wide receiver room, easy speed, quickness, and playmaking. If he manages to put on weight, he can contribute to the return game in 26. Great pickup by the staff, which it's a good point that he made there, Reed, because if you think about it, in terms of the return game, the past season, or really two, you've seen two guys for the most part, and that was Cole Adams, who was a primary returner, then also a little bit of Jalen Mbakwe at times, some Ryan Williams here and there as well. But two of those three that I just mentioned have entered the transfer portal and found their new spot. So that does mean we are, in fact, looking for a new returner, which I think it is going to be important that, we talk about special teams. It's not just place kicking. It's not just punting. But it also comes in the fact that we've got to have better returns ourselves to set up our offense. That's a big part of the field position battle, and there's a hole right there. Now, I don't know who this young man's going to have to beat out for that spot if he does want to maybe be a returner, but he does kind of fit the bill in terms of the speed and at least the elusiveness. That's what it looks like. But you see him right here on this little snippet. the dude definitely has some jets, man. I mean, he can run. I mean, laser 4.3 Reed, that's pretty damn fast. I mean, Reed, have you ever ran a 40-yard dash? I don't know if we've talked about you playing or anything like that. Have you ran a 40?
So I have not ran a 40. I was not really – I didn't have no kind of like electric speed, and I still don't. But I played soccer growing up. I played it through high school, and then, you know, I did special teams for football. But nothing, not like no 4.3 that I'm seeing right here where he's putting on the burners. If that's me, they're tracking me down. All right, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, he definitely
The second half.
me. Sorry, that's the audio from the clip. I think laser, I can't remember what I ran because I didn't run laser at the combine. My hamstring, I couldn't run my 40, but I know on, you know, clocked, I was clocked. The last one I do remember in terms of my 40, it was on a hand clock, but it was like low 4.6. I think like 4.61 was what I ran. So laser, I don't know what that would have been at that time, but regardless, 4.39 is really fast. But I like the addition, man. You got an in-state guy, a kid that, you know, earned that scholarship. He had some smaller school offers. And again, nobody probably expects this young man to come in and necessarily contribute right away unless it's maybe potential returning duties, because we know we've got some serious players at that wide receiver position, but we needed some depth. And, you know, I like the fact that we're able to, you know, reward a high school kid that's been working. It's not all just, hey, let's just hit the transfer portal and take away opportunities from some guys, even though we've signed plenty of players from high school. But still, I like this because, I mean, this is probably a young, hungry kid who's definitely got some great tools to work with. He's from the state. I imagine he probably grew up an Alabama fan. And, you know, I just feel like it's kind of a breath of fresh air getting probably some young guys like this that are eager and hungry for the opportunity. And even though there's probably not the biggest expectations for him to contribute anytime soon, he adds to a wide receiver room that desperately needed some more bodies in it. And he appears to be a great athlete. We'll have to see, you know, what they can do with his development. But shout out to the young man. Like I said, I mean, Brandon Clear, who joins us, he played, you know, wide receiver at Clemson. He had a lot of, you know, high praise for him after, you know, seeing him on tape. So definitely wanted to point that out. And Reed, I'll just say this. I wouldn't be shocked if we add maybe another guy or two here or there, depending on where it might come from. I mean, we're obviously holding those walk-on trials, which we'll talk about in a second. You're always going to need bodies. I mean, you need a number of players on your roster for depth, not just that. I mean, even just from a practice standpoint, right? I mean, if you think about it, only having 6 wide receivers, that barely gives you any guys to go over to the defensive side of the field and give a look. If you think about it, I mean, if you're in 11 personnel, that requires 3 wide receivers. The 2 deep consists of 6 different guys. So we need bodies. So, I mean, this is a guy that's probably going to spend some time on the scout field, be able to give some really good looks with his athleticism and hopefully develop into a player, you know, as his career develops. But definitely a nice little addition there. I like that. And just kind of off the top of my head, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we add maybe 1, maybe 2 more high school guys if you find people that you feel like fit and are deserving of that opportunity. Offensive line, I think we're probably good at this point, Reed. I think we've got plenty of numbers there. If I'm not mistaken, it feels like, what is it, like almost 18 guys on the offensive line? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I'd say roughly. And Christian, I also wanted to add, you know, I pulled up Walker's stats here, and, you know, of course, stats aren't nothing. Well, stats aren't everything, I should say, but they're also not nothing. He played in 13 games, 29 receptions, 490 yards. But I think the most impressive thing was he's averaging nearly 17 yards a catch and added 6 touchdowns on top of that.
And good for him, man. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I know we just got this one snippet playing here, but I mean, speed is speed. And he catches a nice little tunnel screen, it looks like, and turns the Jets on. You know, you can't really coach speed. I mean, you can do some little drills and, you know, knee drive drills and all that good stuff to try to, you know, maybe add a little bit, but 4.39, I don't know if people understand how fast that is on a laser. I mean, that's moving. So regardless, man, he's going to at least give a good look on that defensive side of the field, which, again, I mean, we needed guys to do that. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't be shocked if we add another receiver or maybe 2, who knows? But we'll have to see. Speaking of adding folks and some of the stuff in terms of the whole walk-on deal, which is very normal, but I did see that tweet and I found it. I want to play it for you guys. I don't know. Bama just always finds himself, I guess, in the focus of many others, right? And I get it. People are a little envious. And, you know, it's kind of like when Golden State is going on a run, not everybody, but a lot of people dislike Steph Curry and Golden State. It is what it is. But Reed, I don't know if these people realize how this makes them sound like, I don't want to call them dumb because that's rude. I don't want to say that, but it makes them look kind of silly. Like, I mean, like, guys, you looks like a pretty solid platform there to not understand that teams have walk-on tryouts is kind of interesting. Either you clearly didn't play the game or you really just don't do your homework. But this is to the point we've gotten where people are just trying to take shots at Bama right now. And this is what these guys had to say.
So Alabama and LSU, all like the big blue blood programs, basketball too.
Yeah.
You know, they no longer have the obvious advantage where you know kids that are good enough to play at those schools are only going to go to those schools because I can show up out of the blue at name a D1 school that doesn't have a great pedigree of producing pros, and I can say to a 5-star athlete coming out of high school, I'll give you $1 million. Yeah. Right? If I've got a wealthy benefactor, I can pull that off now, which is why there's so much parity in college sports. That is the upside of NIL money. That's the upside of everybody can compete as long as you can stroke a check.
Yeah.
That's why Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State had that big press conference this past year, and he said, "You're telling me there's not a single graduate of Arizona State that can't write a $20 million check?"
Right.
I want to find you. Where are you? Call me. I need you in this program.
Right.
And he's right.
And he said that because he's from there.
Yes. So what Alabama did yesterday is desperate. Alabama announced for the first time I've ever seen publicly open tryouts. So if you're not a 5-star kid coming out of high school, but maybe you're very good, but for whatever reason, the school you played at, the town you grew up in, you're not on the radar, you can now drive down to Alabama, fly to Alabama, and get a guaranteed tryout. Alabama is now desperate. They're looking for 1-star recruits because they can't get the others.
All right. Now, clearly I played that. not to trigger our fans or anything. No, I didn't. I really just played it just to show like people at this point either – and look, you see the look on his face. I mean, I'm assuming that he's smarter than what he looks like right here and that he knows that everybody, not even just Alabama – and let me not even speak on everybody. I'll just speak on – we've been doing walk-on tryouts since I was here. And that goes back, I got here in 2014. I mean, every single year. You always need more bodies. And it was a little bit different back then because number one, you had to have walk-ons. Why? Because there was the scholarship rules were a little bit different. This was before they changed stuff like that. So, and you could have up to like 120 players and you need people to practice. Like you need bodies to practice, right? Like that's part of it. So Reed, I don't know if he's being serious. Like I said, the smirk on his face, I feel like he's just trying to look for a reason to try to bring Alabama up here because, between the Bediako news and now this, people are just kind of trying to, point their aim at Alabama and have fun. And I'm normally one to say, look, I don't think people really are just going that far, but this guy clearly is, Reed. I mean, hell, to be fair, Reed, I know you haven't ran a 40, but if you wanted to play, I mean, I know you're behind the glass and you do a great job as a producer, but I don't know. Maybe you should go check out an Alabama trial. What position would you play, Reed? You think if you went to go try out, what position would you try to play at?
Christian, if I'm going back, I think I'd just have to get back to my kicking game again. Realistically,
hey, but we could you could provide some competition in there.
Exactly, and I just find it funny because I understand how the media works. Okay, media, you want clicks, you want views, all right, but for him to say that this is the first time that he's seen it is kind of either one, it's the off chance that he didn't see it, or the two that he's just trying to get the views because I see it every single year. I see the same graphic on Instagram, X, even Facebook, walk-on tryouts for Alabama. All my buddies are like, "Hey, Reed, why don't you go do it?" And I'm like, "Well, we'll see," and never end up doing it. But my point being is I think it's just views, man.
It has to be. Matter of fact, it's even trending on X right now because everybody's correcting him, which and rightfully so. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't even click his show, and no disrespect to him. I mean, I really don't know who he is, but it says Radio Hall of Famer Craig Carton in his daily podcast, "No Sacred Cows, Just Real Sports Talk for Real Sports Fan." Well, I mean, that's not a great depiction of real sports talk because, I mean, that's a blatant lie. Or he just really doesn't know better. But yeah, I mean, just looking at his page real quick, you can tell. I think that's kind of his deal, man. That's how he decides to go about it. Shock jock radio, trying to get clicks. It is what it is. That's his approach. Can't blame him. I will say this though. Shout out to Clint, man. Clint posted this, and Clint had the receipts, man. And Clint goes back and shows and highlights the date: January 9th, 2024, August 22nd, 2023. August 15th, 2022, Coach Saban's still here. So that, literally even the coach prior was doing it all the way back to January 13th, of 2020. So, I mean, walk-on tryouts have been a thing. As a matter of fact, that was the year, either the year we did win or just won a national championship. So what does that go to show you? I don't know. I wish we wouldn't have wasted 3 minutes talking about this guy, but I couldn't help it because I saw this training read. I'm like, there's no way this, like, somebody really is just like that ignorant that they can't just go search and find out that people hold walk-on tryouts.
Well, Christian, I'm glad you brought it up because I hadn't seen anything on this, and like I said, it just brought me a good laugh. No disrespect to him and his show, but yeah, I just found a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's about all you can. That's about all you can do at this point, right? I mean, it is what it is. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we're going to the phone lines. We got Sonny on the line, and I just got the notification. Pastor Payne just popped up, man. I had a feeling something told me, man, this Friday. I feel like he's a little bit free on Fridays. We might hear from the Pastor Payne. So we'll do just that. We'll go to the phone lines. We got Sonny on the line. When we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Under the biggest cactus in town.
My guy, Adam, back again. Adam must be stopped, man. Adam must be stopped. Speaking of Adam and all the stuff that he's doing, you guys go ahead and say a big hello to our newest sponsor here on the Miller's Edge, Adam Lamparello and his firm, Lamparello Law, which I'm going to give you guys a bunch of good info on that again. They're finalizing their site and everything that they're doing over there, but make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk about it plenty over the next few months, however long we're going to be doing it. But just know that we got a lot of good stuff coming with Adam, and not only are we going to be talking about it, we're going to be talking with Adam. Adam is, as you guys know, you can tell by his questions, everything that he brings to the show. He knows a lot about the game of football. So we're going to start talking with Adam every week on Thursdays. Starting in a few weeks, so I'm really looking forward to that. We'll get his thoughts on it. And plus, with Adam's background in law, if there's ever anything that comes up with like Bediako, like the situation with Bediako, some of these NIL contracts, we have our official lawyer here on the Miller's Edge. How great is that? I mean, it's probably good on a personal standpoint. Anybody ever tried something with the Miller's Edge, man? We got our representation, so make sure you guys also check out Lamparello Law. And seriously, I do mean this. Anybody that supports the show, especially in that fashion, man, always, if you're ever considering doing anything in a field that, relates to any of our sponsors, man, if you're a big fan of the Miller's Edge, always consider our partners and sponsors on the show. Why? Because they're the ones that make this whole thing go. I'm being completely honest with you, man. Like, they're the ones that run the ship. So everybody else can enjoy the show, right? We don't have subscriptions or fees and things like that. And a large part of that is because we have some great people that we work with. So if you ever have any needs and our sponsors offer that, man, always consider that route, because that not only supports them, but it supports us here on the show. So big thanks to Adam. Everybody's cracking up in the chat. Adam is kind of like Mark Cuban here for the Miller's Edge. I'm kidding. But again, I'll definitely make sure we give you plenty of info on everything they're doing with Lamparello Law. And it's not only just for legal representation, but it'll be, test prep in terms of high school students, college students. I mean, anybody and everybody can benefit from what Adam and his firm will be doing once they've officially launched it. So I'm excited for their launch. I got to talk with Adam yesterday. We had a great conversation, really great stuff on the way. And I'm super excited for you guys to hear more about it. And I'll read that here, some of those details in a minute. But let me get to his question while we got some time. Christian, what do you think are realistic expectations for Alabama next year? Oh, wait, let me throw the Pastor Payne up here real quick. Hold on. Let me make sure I do this real quick. Let me hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? Okay, he's singing. Hold on. Now can you hear me? All right. He's gonna have to leave. Let me kick him out. Let me kick him out. Leave and come back. Or actually, I'm gonna make you leave. It worked with Slade where I dropped myself and came back and it worked. But yeah, so let's let him join back on and we'll get to him in a second. I think we're coming back. Wait, Craig. Oh, the guy we just talked to. All right, hold on. I think we're back. Let me get to this in 2 seconds. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big shout-out to Adam Lamparello Law for the super chat here. And then again, he is our latest sponsor on the Miller's Edge. So big shout-out to Adam. We'll get those details for you guys here in a moment. But we got a great question from Adam that I do want to hit. And I know we got Sonny on the line, so let's do this. I'm going to save it. I'm gonna go to Sonny because I told Sonny that we'd get to him as soon as we come back. So let me go to the phone lines first, then we're going to get to Adam's question. Then we'll bring on the Pastor Payne, and we'll get into the free-for-all Friday. It's definitely a little bit of madness on the show right here. But, hey, that's what a free-for-all Friday is about. Sonny, welcome in.
What's going on, bud?
Hey, what's up, Sonny? How you been, man?
Yeah, I want to ask you about a player that was on the team last year and one of Alabama's incoming freshmen. See what you think about him.
Yeah. Who's that player?
Justin Hill. What do you think his upside is? Could he have the ability to be a game wrecker, or what do you think?
Was it Justin Hill? Was that the name you said?
Yes.
I like Justin Hill a lot, man. I like him a lot. I think he's a very physical player, especially at a young age. I mean, he's definitely not afraid to put his nose in there, and that's one of those things. It's hard to teach physicality. It's hard to teach toughness like that, especially when you see that as a guy as young as he is. You know what I mean? It's very impressive. So can he be a game changer or a game wrecker? I think he has some of those traits, but I'll say this. Right now, I view him more as he can be an elite run defender. I think his pass rush still is developing. And I think, once he starts really, trusting and learning some more tools to work with and develops that part of his game, he really can progress more so as a true game wrecker. But right now, I think, his best skill set is his ability to stop the run and be a physical force on the edge, which is really important, right? And I think he has the tools to develop as a pass rusher. I just think right now he's still a little bit – that part of his game is a little bit behind where he's at as a run defender. So I think down the road, once he puts those, things together, I think he does have that ability to be a game wrecker, a game changer. And I'm really excited for him. I like him a lot. He's a great kid, by the way, a great young man, I should say. I've been able to chop it up with him, a couple times, and I've always walked away very impressed with him. I mean, he's always looking to, get better, doing extra work after practice. Very impressive young man, and I'm excited for his future.
The incoming freshman, Xavier Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think he's going to play?
Yeah, so to me, when you watch him on tape, Xavier Griffin, incoming freshman out of Georgia, really impressive. I mean, you're talking about a Swiss Army knife, defensive coordinator's best friend, his ability to play off-ball linebacker, but also, he's shown tape to play on the edge. He has pass rush ability, really good athleticism. When he's coming off the edge, he shows great bend, explosiveness. When he's playing off-ball backer, he's very rangy. He can run things down, play sideline to sideline. His athleticism allows him to not be a liability in coverage. So, I mean, he's kind of your do-it-all type of guy. And, before he even announced it, I just kept thinking of, hey, the way we use Jahad Campbell, I think you can utilize him that same way. He came out in an interview and said that was their whole pitch to him. They view him as another Jahad Campbell. So you talk about somebody being a game changer, as he grows and develops, he has that. To me, that he has a little bit more of that potential just right now, looking at him, given all the things that he can do and that he appears to already do at a high level as a young guy. Now, again, that has to translate. I think he'll benefit from adding some more mass and some strength right now. He looks to be around maybe 210, 215. I don't know. Might be a little less, could be a little bit more, but he's going to have to gain some weight, get a little bit stronger. And I think the quicker he can do that, I think the quicker he'll be able to get on the field and make an even bigger impact. But I completely see him being a really good football player here, especially the number of ways you can utilize him. And, there's a lot of spots on that linebacker in that linebacker group right now that are available. Question. He has the ability to play not only, Mike or Will in those off-ball spots, but he can play the wolf. You're right. So, the way I see it is maybe with the lack of depth at off-ball backer, maybe you start him there, but then consider bringing him in on some third down packages to play more of that wolf outside backer spot as a pass rusher. But I think it really depends on team needs. But he does have the ability probably equally to play both spots and be effective at both.
Just watching him on tape, I like how physical he is as well.
Yeah, he's got great length. I mean, for somebody that's not, super big right now, he does play with physicality, and that's why I'm saying, I mean, the bigger he gets, the more dominant he will be, and it's going to be important that he does. But I'm not worried about that. I was the same way when I got here. I was 205, 210, and by the time I knew it, I was already in the 230 range, which that's all he probably needs to be. You know what I mean? Like, If he gets up to 240, that'd be great. But I think 230 in today's game, I mean, you see a lot of off-ball backers around that range. Now, if he's going to play a little more wolf, maybe closer to 240 would probably be more beneficial as you're, engaging with those tackles, and having a little bit more mass would be probably a little helpful. But yeah, I think if he can kind of get up to around 230, even his freshman year, if he plays around 225, I think that's probably solid enough to make some type of impact. But I'm really excited about him, and I think he's going to end up being one of the next highly touted backers to leave here.
I want to ask you about a couple portal transfers.
Yeah.
I like Terrence Green. I think he can. I think he can make a difference this season. Where's London Simmons? Where will he play?
London Simmons. So we'll start with Terrence Green. You mentioned first. So I definitely view him more as a nose. I mean, he's a big, long body defender, like 6'5", 320 or so. I think he definitely can play that nose spot, which I like because we lacked a true nose outside of maybe Jeremiah Beeman. All the other guys that contributed at nose behind Tim Keenan. Tim Keenan was like the only true nose, in my opinion, that we played with. The other guys, like London Simmons, I think Faga is his last name. Those guys are more three techniques. They don't have the true size or strength really to really hunker down at nose. I mean, they can do it, right? We saw them do it. London Simmons did a pretty solid job. But to me, those guys are better suited at three techniques. So bringing in a guy like Green from Oregon who can play that nose, then also having Jeremiah Beeman come back from injury, that allows a guy like London Simmons to bump out to the three technique, where I think he can be even more effective. But if you need more depth at nose, he's done it before. I'm sure he'll be even better at it if he has to play it, but I just think he's a better fit at three technique. So not only is it nice to bring Green in from a perspective that he can help contribute to this defensive line, but also his presence will allow some of our other guys to play probably a more natural position, which could let them flourish and excel a little bit more. So I like both of them. I think London Simmons has the ability to maybe be probably one of the best interior defensive linemen that we have this upcoming season. I was really impressed with what he did as a freshman. To me, he stood out even as a true freshman prior, almost more than some of the other guys. And I think he's just going to continue to grow. He's very mature for his age. He works his tail off, and he does a lot of little things right. And I think just as he gets more reps, more experience, he's going to get that much better. But I'm really excited about London Simmons. To me, I think he's probably going to be one of the better defensive linemen we have this upcoming season.
I think the starters are going to be Terrence Green at the nose and Simmons at the three.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going. I don't know who's going to start at the Bandit. I don't know.
Yeah, if you look at it, they've got a number of different ways they can go about it. Like you said, I feel the same way. I feel like if Terrence Green comes in here and he's all that you expected, right, and you can continue to work and develop him over the next few months, I view him as that nose, bump London Simmons to that three. Bandit's kind of interesting to me because I don't think we have like a true bandit right now that fits exactly what they've been, utilizing at the position. Because I look at the young man from South Carolina, from a five technique perspective, he's fine. He's 240, 250-ish maybe. But he's kind of high cut, so like at a five technique, he's good. But watching him, I don't think he would, fare great, bumping into that 4-eye, which the bandit is asked to do occasionally. But he could play it. But then one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about and this isn't confirmed, but I think this is the expectation barring any changes. But I believe Jamarian Latham, I know he's definitely trying to get an extra year of eligibility, the one that suffered the neck injury. I think the expectation is that he will be back. Not many people are talking about that just because there hadn't been many updates. But from my understanding, I think there is a pretty solid chance that he's back. If that's the case, you feel good because he's a true bandit. He played the position. He's a veteran guy with experience. So at least on early downs, you feel good about that. But I think there's some flexibility. The guy from USC, they view him as an interior defensive line, which I'm fine with him there, especially on sub packages. However, he's not the most physical when it comes to stopping the run, at least on that, from the interior side of things. So maybe you consider him at bandit in some situations. But go ahead.
Let me ask you about one last one. Now, he's a true freshman, but I like him. It's Jamarian Matthews from Georgia.
Yeah.
What's your evaluation of him?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen this tape in a minute. I think we watched it a couple months ago, so I have to go back and try to piece together. So I'd hate to try to tell you something that I'm not even 100% sure if I'm mentioning the right guy. But I do remember some of the guys we watched that looked like potential bandits. They definitely looked like they had some solid potential, kind of fit the bill of what this coaching staff wants out of the position. I think it's just a matter of, how quickly they can get adjusted to the college level, right? I mean, there's always going to be that adjustment. And then we always talk about this for young guys to have an impact early up front. The closer you are to the football, typically the harder it is, right? Because there's that physical maturation process that has to happen, whether it's an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. An 18-year-old guy isn't going to be as big, maybe as big physically, but normally not as strong as maybe a 21, 22-year-old guy that's been playing college football.
I want to ask about one last guy, the Henry guy. I can't say it. You seen him play?
Are you talking about the JUCO transfer from last season, Cavante Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, watching his tape from, his JUCO days, man, I was impressed with him. I thought he was a very explosive athlete, really good first step off the football. I mean, again, I know the competition was what it was, but looking at his tools he had, I mean, I was intrigued by him. He ended up getting here and he put on like 20 pounds. I think they wanted him to gain some weight. And just last season, he was just, kind of behind the curve a little bit in terms of where he needed to be to really contribute. So, he's an intriguing guy. If he can, develop a little bit quicker and kind of put some stuff together. I know he's an older guy, but he just, he wasn't necessarily where he needed to be a true contributor. I think you saw him occasionally in some passing down situations, but in terms of like a down-to-down basis, he just wasn't quite there. If he can get to that point, what's that?
Is he going to play the bandit position?
Yeah. So I think he got up to around like 270 range maybe after he put on some weight by getting there, which again, I mean, that was directed by the staff. They wanted him to put on weight. So yeah, he's another guy that can play bandit, but just I'm going off of where he was at last year. I don't think he was quite there. Now that could change, and hopefully it does because we need more depth there. But as of right now, I'm a little patient on him just because I need to see kind of where he's at in his development and I don't even physically. I don't know. Has he dropped some of that weight? Is he back to being a little bit more explosive? Has he learned how to play a little bit more discipline within the system where you can play him on a down-to-down basis? That's kind of to be determined. So I think the spring will give us a lot more answers, Sonny, in terms of where these guys are at and kind of how everybody fits in.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Sonny. Short and sweet to the point, man. That's our guy, Sonny, man. Shout out to him. I think he's down in that Mobile area. But yeah, man, I mean, in terms of the D-line, there's a lot of different routes that you can go and kind of see how it all plays out. We got the Pastor Payne on here. Can you hear me?
I can.
There we go. It worked. Thank God. I was worried it wasn't going to work, man. What's going on, man?
I am just driving, getting to my car, this Cadillac car radio has been out and it's on back order for 4 months. So they just called, can you get it in? So I've been paying for this expensive car with a jacked up radio, Bluetooth. So they finally got it in. So I drove up from Greenville to Columbia to get this in. So I heard the guy talking about the walk-ons almost made me run off the road.
Yeah, what do you think about that? We got a great super chat question by Adam, but I want to make sure we have enough time, so I'm gonna get it when we come back. But tell me real quick, like you mentioned, I mean,
I think it was dumb. Obviously, he's
right.
Who was it? Who was that?
I'll be honest. His name is Craig Carton. Like all seriously, I've never heard of him, so I don't know. Maybe you have an idea.
But so my point is, he don't even matter because obviously he has no clue. Walk-on tryouts has been a part of college athletics and football for decades. All schools do that. All schools have a tryout for walk-ons because one, you only had 85 scholarship players and you needed bodies. I mean, right. Sometimes they started doing the stories and surprising guys with scholarships, guys that had worked their tails off, guys that had earned it. I mean, back when I played, you came in as a walk-on, you just basically a hidden dummy. You just get in this gap, go here, here's the cards, tell you where to go. You getting trumped by guys that play. Nobody respected you. But today, walk-ons are important. Now you have something called preferred walk. Oh, he's a preferred walk-on. They done made walk-on high class now. And the fact that you can get up to 100 scholarships, you can give up to 100 scholarships. There's some good players because the transfer portal has hurt high school recruiting, right?
It has.
And some guys that normally would be getting recruited, even from a group of 5 school or smaller, school, they sit there and say, you know what? I'll take my chances to walk on out of Alabama, South Carolina, Clemson. And you know what? Maybe I just need some time to develop. You talked about getting stronger and strength. maybe I get in there in 2 years. I go through this walk-on program, and I develop into the player that I think I can be. So it's a great thing for the athlete, the young athlete, where college, high school guys are hurting. You give a guy a chance to play at a high level and experience something he would never normally get a chance to experience. But for a guy to get on a podcast or whatever platform he was doing that on, I'm driving, so I didn't really see it, but very idiotic. It don't mean Alabama don't get no more. Alabama has been doing this. I mean, Alabama has been having walk-on trials. Every school, brother, dude, whoever you are talking, take his mic, throw it in the river, and kick him out. He has zero understanding of what he's talking about. So that just tells you where we are today. You get anybody can get a mic, anybody can get creative and start a podcast, and people, there's idiot people that listen to them, and they don't know what they're talking about. We see it in politics, we see it in sports, we see it in the church. You got everybody to preach on Instagram now. My God, really?
Hey, well, you know like, my uncle. You know my uncle. You know my uncle on my mom's side. My uncle Robert. He actually, you know, he got his what was it, ministry license or his preacher's license online or something like that.
You know, guys go online and get some of the married people that they won't do it for a church for real people because it's unacceptable. Okay.
No, I'm just
that's the real.
Let me do this. Let's hit this top hour break. Don't go anywhere though, because when we come back, we got a great question from Adam here that I want to discuss. It kind of pertains a little bit to the whole walk-on deal. Plus, we got to talk about the latest with the playoff system. Right? There's been some updates there, so I want to talk about that briefly. What those updates are, what it means moving forward, and more. Right here on the Miller's Edge, we come back. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
At Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa, luxury may be closer than you.
All right. Wait, did you are you getting off here or are you hanging out? I don't know what he's got going. Realistic expectations for Alabama next year, be okay with making the playoffs, but at worst 9-3. Also, kids have some nerves trying to walk on to Alabama. Walk-ons are probably getting killed in practice on the scout team. I'll say this, man. Man, walk-ons are so important. Like, and I'm not just saying that. Like all seriousness. Like, you know, it's critical. The better the walk-ons that you have, the better look that you get. Oh, I guess he had to dip out. Did he really just want to respond to that guy? Then peace out. This guy. Wait, where's he at? Why is he not on the screen? Oh, it's because I got the layout change. I don't know if he's coming back or not, but that guy. Anyway. Man, walk-ons are so critical because that determines the type of look you get on the scout field. You know, because the way practice works is, you know, you'll have periods where you're doing like install periods. So offense is on one part, defense is on another. And it doesn't matter what school it is. Everybody does this. They're separated. And then during those install periods are like, you know, defensive focus or offensive focus where you're going over, you know, again, install or your game plan, stuff like that. You're going against a scout team. And so you'll have several periods doing that, and then they'll come together, and you do what we call good on good. That was Coach Saban's term, man. No disrespect to the walk-ons. Coach Saban called good on good. That's just what we call it. And so the defense would go against the offense. So like one defense, you know, one offense go against each other, two defense, two offense, so forth. Then you break back up and go back to what you're doing. My point is to get a good look in practice, you have to have good players. And, you know, we had some great walk-ons here at Alabama, some that went on to play. Matter of fact, somebody mentioned him in the chat. Matter of fact, Levi's in town. I was going to get him to jump on here, but I think he had something to do this morning. But he told me he's going to hop on here. One of my great friends, Levi Wallace, he walked on here. Now, he probably was considered, I think, a preferred walk-on, if I'm not mistaken, but ended up earning a lot of playing time here, becoming a starter, and going on to play, 7 years in the National Football League. Jamie Mosley started off as a preferred walk-on, earned a scholarship, but even just some guys that didn't necessarily end up playing a whole bunch. We had a number of guys that were some good quality walk-ons that went hard at practice, gave a really good look, and they were instrumental in our practice habits and getting our guys ready to play. So, no, I know Adam's just poking fun at it, but no, you'd be surprised, man. I mean, there's also some guys that you'd be like, man, how do we accept this guy to be? You know, I was going to say Rashad Johnson, but I can't remember if Rashad was a walk-on or not, but he was. you're right. I was on the fence about it. I was like, I want to say Rashad was also a walk-on. And Rashad went on. Rashad was very similar, in my opinion, to Levi. Granted, Rashad was like a 2-time team captain here. I think one of the first people to do that, but went on and had a great NFL career as well. Shout out to Rashad, man. I filled in for him once he left as a sideline reporter. I did it for a couple of years, and now he's coaching. He was down in Tampa Bay. I think he's still down there. But let's get to Adam's question. So, realistic expectations. Adam, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I think for me, Adam said, I'll revise my opinion. Well, here's the thing, Adam. So you had to, like, you honestly didn't have a choice. So you had to have walk. Nowadays it's a little bit different because now with the new scholarship numbers, they can pretty much just have everybody as a scholarship player. So it is a little bit different. Oh, shout out to C Nitty for the reminder, man. We got 110, 111 people in here, 38 likes. If you guys haven't, man, it takes 2 seconds. Just hit that like button. I know it gets annoying when I say it, but hey, the quicker you do it, I want to say it. But it just helps us out. Just push the channel, man. If you guys like the content, it just helps us push even more. And we always have our 1 or 2 people that take the time to hit the dislike for whatever reason, man. But we appreciate all you guys just hitting that like button. I promise it doesn't do anything. It just helps more people see the content and get more people in here, which makes it even more fun for you guys because then the chat's even more interactive, all that good stuff. But to answer your question, Adam, I think for me, I think 9-3 is kind of like where I view this roster at now. Not saying we can't be better. I just think from a realistic perspective, which maybe this is where the dislikes come in when we say stuff like this. People don't want to hear that. But I just feel like the youth of our team, the schedule that we have, to me, that feels like a somewhat realistic kind of outlook right now. Now, things could change. This team could end up, using that youth to fuel a whole bunch of competition and guys step up and everybody's playing with grit, toughness, and the running game just all of a sudden comes to life. But to me, like when we say the word realistic, or we're saying, just kind of, being objective, that to me is like 10-2, 11-1 is possible. But from an objective perspective with a young offensive line, a new quarterback, you're going to have some growing pains, damn near a whole new front seven almost. And knowing how those pieces were some of the main issues for this Alabama football team, not just last year, but over the last couple of years, I feel like that just feels somewhat in line with where we're at now. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Had the Pastor Payne on here real briefly. He came in, went right back out. I think he had to drop his car off or get something figured out. But we are opening the phone lines back up, 205-342-9904, if you guys want to get in on the conversation. Well, let's jump back into this question from Adam before we dive into some of this playoff talk with some of the updates that have been announced. Adam's question was, Christian, what do you think are realistic expectations for Alabama next year? I would be okay with making the playoffs, but at worst, 9-3. Also, kids have some nerve trying to walk on at Alabama. These walk-ons are probably getting killed in practice on the scout team. Like we talked about the walk-on piece, right? And how you kind of have to have them. And I'll be honest with you, man. We had a lot of great walk-ons when I was here. Michael Nicewan is another guy that came to mind. He ended up earning a lot of playing time, playing that H-back position. And I think he might be coaching now, if I'm not mistaken. We had a lot of guys, but there were some guys that definitely got crushed a little bit. But a lot of other guys definitely holding their own and giving great looks, and that's part of it. But in terms of realistic expectations, kind of like what we've mentioned, I still think right now, just where we stand, to me, it just feels like this roster is looking at a little bit like a 9-3 type deal right now. That's just my opinion, and I hope I'm ass backwards wrong. I hope we go undefeated, but I just think with the youth, especially up front, new quarterback, there's probably going to be some growing pains. Still waiting on an answer if we can run the ball or not. Are we going to be able to fix that? We talked with Mike Johnson about that yesterday. If you missed it, I cut out that part of the interview and we posted it. You can go check out that part on our YouTube channel. But I don't know. And then you combine that with a tough schedule that we do have, and I'll pull up our schedule right now. Matter of fact, while I do that, I'd love to encourage you guys. Let me know what you guys think would be a realistic outlook on Alabama for next season, this upcoming season. Now, like I said, a realistic objective look, right? I mean, if possible. I know a lot of people definitely want to lean into the faith, which is cool. I'm not mad at it, but for this conversation, I'm just curious. So here's the schedule, by the way, and so this will kind of help maybe form your opinion. So you got the season opener September 5th against East Carolina. That will be in Tuscaloosa. Then the following week, you go on the road. You play at Kentucky. A lot of people have some question marks about that game. I know a number of people feel like you should circle that one. First road game for the Crimson Tide. Kentucky might be an intriguing team potentially. Changes on the coaching staff, we'll have to see, right? Just some unknowns there. You get your rematch against Florida State here in Tuscaloosa. Honestly, at this point, I feel solid about that game. I feel like there should definitely be some extra emotions going into that one. We got them at home. Hopefully we take care of business there. South Carolina, we play them at home. That's going to be an interesting one, in my opinion. You're talking about a team that was able to bring back their quarterback, their star edge rusher. I also think they brought back Nick Harbor, the track star at wide receiver. So definitely an interesting team, in terms of they got a lot of pieces returning, and they've been very active in the transfer portal. So I think that's going to definitely be a good one. Playing Mississippi State for the first time in a couple years. That one comes on the road in Starkville. Mississippi State making some improvements. They've gotten a little bit better. Still not quite there just yet. And then this is where you get into the gauntlet, Reed. October 10th, you face Georgia. You face them at home. We know how that's going to go. It's always going to be a tough matchup, right? I know we won, 2 of the last 3 against those guys, but you always expect a tough one there. That's just a really good program, great coaching. It is what it is. Then you go on the road, third Saturday in October, to Tennessee. Always a tough place to play. They've definitely got themselves a lot of question marks over at Tennessee right now, so we'll have to see. I don't know how they're going to be this upcoming season, but I just know it's a tough place to play. Texas A&M, really good football team, right? We saw that this past year. Only one regular season loss came at the end of the season. Marcel Reed is back. They re-signed. I can't remember the receiver's name, but one of their top receivers. They've got a lot of good players on that roster. They're going to be a tough matchup. The good news is, like Adam said, we do have them here in Tuscaloosa. Got to go on the road to play Baton Rouge. Lane Kiffin's first year. It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, he's very active in the portal. I think he's probably the favorite to land. Jordan Seaton. I think they've paid several quarterbacks millions of dollars. So, I mean, they're trying to load up talent. They landed Ole Miss's top edge from last season, if I'm not mistaken, via the transfer portal. So probably going to have a good team on their hands, even though it's their first year under Kiffin. Probably going to be a tough one, and it's on the road. Then you got to go back on the road and play Vanderbilt. Not sure how they're going to be. Again, a lot of openings there, a lot of question marks. We'll have to see, but they've been decent last couple of years. And then the last 2 games, you got Chattanooga and Auburn at home. So after seeing those teams and those matchups where everything falls, like I said, I mean, just with where we stand, just my opinion, and again, I hope I'm wrong, but kind of feels kind of like a 9-3 type deal, just where we're at as a football team. Now, I think it's really early to really feel confident in even saying that, whether it's good or bad. After I'm able to, get some more, I guess, perspective on things from the spring, and then, of course, fall camp, we'll have a much better idea. Plus, we'll have a better idea on some of these other football teams. But that's just kind of where I'm at. Like I mentioned, not to beat a dead horse. The youth, a lot of new faces, a lot of question marks, a lot of holes. That's just kind of where I'm at. Which, I mean, 9-3 with the latest on the playoffs, they didn't change anything in terms of like the amount of teams. It's still going to be a 12-team playoffs. I think they revised a few different things, but still 9-3, you're kind of on that cusp. You're kind of a fringe team. Depending on how things go, you could have a chance. More than likely, you probably aren't in the playoffs on that note. But let me just follow up by saying this. I'll be honest with you, man. Maybe I'm different than other people. To me, if Bama goes 9-3, you go 9-3. I mean, it is what it is. I know it's frustrating. It's not what you want, but when I look at this roster, I just can't help but feel that this roster is a little bit more suited for a 2027 type run. I just do. I just feel like with the youth and where we're at now, it just feels like having all that experience going into 2027 just feels a little bit more like the year. The problem is knowing the expectations here at Alabama, do you get to that point? Because I could see it being a case where maybe, staff has, goals, down the road, but do they get that ability just knowing how we are? I mean, just think about it, guys. I mean, 9-3 sounds okay. And for me, it is okay. But I think for the large majority, people don't want to hear that or see that. I mean, let me ask you, Reed. I mean, what do you think? Looking at this schedule, where we're at with this roster right now, a lot of new faces, a whole new offensive line. The hope and expectation is they're a better unit. But again, that's just what that is. It's hope and expectation. I mean, it's a lot of young developmental guys that hopefully can make a difference. But we saw we had a lot of good experienced players up front last year, and we see how that went. So, I mean, to me, I just think it's kind of hard to have the utmost confidence that just because we replaced some of these guys with some new blood, some young guys that might be hungry, I just don't necessarily see it making that drastic of a difference with everything else still the same. Staff, system. To me, I think it's more than just a personnel problem. I do. And so without seeing Grubb change his philosophy, his system, his scheme, it's hard for me to really, go into it saying, okay, with the moves we made, I automatically think we're going to be better than 10-2, which we, this past season, we were 10-2, which is solid. And I think that's probably the mark. If you can go 10-2 and make the playoffs, I don't think anybody's probably complaining. As long as you're putting yourself in position to compete, it's just, I'm trying to weigh the pros and cons of everything, Reed. And this is where I'm at. Again, that's just my perspective. Doesn't mean it's right. Just because I'm a former player doesn't mean it's any better than anybody else's. But I do my research. I watch tape. I talk to folks, and that's just kind of where I'm at. Where are you at, Reed? Did we lose you, Reed?
Say that one more time, Christian.
Where are you at with this roster for like a realistic outlook, given the schedule, given all the new additions, the new faces, the youth, all that stuff? Just your I guess way too early kind of prediction for this team.
Well, I kind of like how you pointed out, that 2027 I think is the championship run, and not to overlook this next year, but we are bringing in a lot of new guys, and there's a bunch of unknowns, so we don't necessarily have much to go based off of. So I'm just, if I had to throw out a record prediction, right, way too early, all right, I'm sitting around that 9-3, 10-2 range because of the unknown. Now, credit, we could exceed that, or we could even, we could go 8-4. Who knows? There's so much unknown,
Yeah, and like you said, not even just with us, with everybody. Like it's like even like LSU, for example. We don't know what they're really going to be like as a team. I mean, everything's new coaches, a whole bunch of new players. You don't know, you know what I mean? And so that game could be a big, tough game to go deal with, or it could be, they're going through their first year growing pains, and it's, I wouldn't say an easy dub, but you get what I'm saying. Like you said, it's really early. But that's why I just try to base it off of, I'm like, all right, this is how we looked last year with what we had. Like, I'll be honest. Our offensive line was nowhere near the number one unit like all these people on PFF or whoever were saying. I don't know where they came up with that, but But my thing is, if you couldn't do a number of things with that group, and I know it wasn't necessarily their guys, I just don't see how magically you just bring in some young developmental pieces and that fixes the running game, the inconsistencies, and pass pro at times. These guys not being in sync, like Mike Johnson talked about. To me, that there's more. To me, it's way more than just personnel. To me, it's clearly, the development has to be better, the coaching has to be better, the system has to put these guys in better like all of that. And to me, I'm just like I don't have that confidence right now with that. So that's just like I said, that's where I'm at. But I want to see where you guys are at. 205-342-9904 is the number. I think we got Pat on the line. We'll hear from him. We got the Pastor Payne back on here. We'll get his thoughts. Plus, I'll give you guys the latest on the whole playoff system, which is the most important thing. At the end of the day, Reed, I think it boils down to this. Who really cares if it's 9-3, 10-2, 11-1? I think the biggest thing is making the playoffs because we want to be on a run. We want a chance, right? Just like Miami.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I mean, take the numbers. I know the numbers matter in terms of getting in or not, but I think at the end of the day, the numbers don't matter as much as just making the playoffs. Because you look at Miami, they were on the outside looking in, but the fact that they got an opportunity, they were able to make a run, play in a national championship game, and we're just this shy from winning it. So I think the biggest thing at the end of the day, just make the playoffs. Who cares what the record really is? As long as you make the playoffs, I think everybody can agree on that. In this day and age, we can roll with that. We got to hit a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
If you're looking for a good time, good food, and good drinks.
All right, let's see if we can add him on here and get it right. Let's see, this is the prompt. So let me take that down. Add him here. Can you hear me? I feel like that's a no. Can you hear me? Check. Can you hear me? I don't know why it always has to do this. Adam, thank you so much again, seriously. And let me give you all this quick little update on this. Again, they're still in the process of getting their website, but it will be lamparello-law.com. But again, they're going to do a number of things, not only just representation, but mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery, application strategy, personal statements, resumes, long-term academic and professional planning. They're doing it all. Seriously, guys. So if you need anything, probably really anything you can think of, man, make sure you consider Adam and his firm Lamparello-Law, Lamparello-Law.com. Lamparello Law is the firm, and they will get you square. Now I have much more information on that moving forward. But again, big shout out to Adam, officially the newest member of the Miller's Edge team. Let's see, we got the Pastor Payne on here now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
I'm trying to charge my pad. Let me see if I can borrow this chair.
While you do that, we got another super chat from our guy Superfly. That always trips me, and I got it right this time. Super chat from Superfly. Superfly says, "Thank you so much for the donation." He says, "I would be very happy with 9-3. That's a great year with the young team. If it's better, then that's even better. With all the talk before last season, I set my expectations way too high. Roll Tide." And listen, this is why I appreciate all of our listeners, right? Because people, listen, you guys can hear just us give our opinions, our objective opinions, and no one freaks out. And I think people they listen to it, they respect it. If they disagree, they disagree. And that's how it should be, right? You guys know, because it comes from a good place. It's not negative or hating. That's just where I feel like we're at currently. And I do that because, number one, my credibility is on the line. But two, I wanted to set, expectations that way, like Superfly said. I feel like last season, and to be fair, I mean, there were a lot of reasons to be excited about last season. Because I'll be honest, I had us last year, I think I said, 10-2? I said, with our ceiling probably being 11-1, but I said probably 10-2 in that range. And that's pretty much what happened. It made sense, right? I thought, Ty, with his fit, I was optimistic on how that would kind of help the passing game in this offense, which we saw that. But the problem was there still were some issues. And that's why I have to just say, to me, I have to be transparent on where we're at, because we have, some issues that need to be addressed. And until I have confidence that those have been or are being addressed, I have to stay put on kind of where I'm at right now. And again, spring ball will give me a much better idea. Like when I go up to a practice during the spring, and if I see an offensive line unit that looks physical, I mean, they're hungry. That I see guys that are in there making a difference. The running game looks a lot more in sync. To me, I can probably change some things. But again, right now, way, way, way too early. That's just kind of where we're at. But Superfly, I appreciate you so much, man. Always rocking with us here, supporting, listening, and always your donations, of course, man. Seriously, thank you guys. Seriously, you guys, you make it all happen. So we can't thank all of you guys enough, man. We're about to, dang, you guys are rolling with the super chats today. Dang. All right, hold on. We're about to come back from a break. Here we go. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got the Pastor Payne back. I know he's a little occupied waiting on his truck to get finished. Can you speak? Can you talk? Are you good to talk? Or are you on quiet mode? You got to use your inside voice? Oh, you can't hear me. How about now? No. How about now?
There we go. What you doing over there, bro?
I'm not doing anything. Blame it. Listen, we had technical difficulties to start the show. The whole system crashed, and I literally, it still was going on, but luckily it was still going when I came back. Anyway, technology, man, it'll do it sometimes. Before we move on to the next topic, did you want to chime in on any of that conversation real quick? I think you mentioned it, last season a little bit, and please Listen, I've been very objective here. Please don't go too hard. I feel like we've been honest. Let's.
I mean, what?
I'm just saying. No, let's just.
It's nothing too hard. It's just being realistic. I mean, I'm not a big fan of projections. First of all, I mean, how can you sit here in January after losing guys? You got new guys coming in. You're building a new team. You don't even know really what this roster is going to entail and what it looks like. You don't. I mean, so you only can make some assumptions about your football team. But if you're Alabama, your offensive line is depleted. The quarterback is depleted. You got two young guys that are very promising, but you don't know how they're going to be. You need help at wide receiver. Defensively is your most complete unit right now, but you need help up front, pass rushing, linebacker. There's still some question marks there. So when you look at that and you look at who they're going to play, well, those other teams, LSU you just alluded to, Tennessee, others going to have same questions. Everybody has question marks right now. So to be sitting here in January to talk about what you think the record's going to be is one of the, I'm sorry, dumbest things I ever heard.
Oh,
I mean,
well, thanks a lot, man.
Again, it don't make any sense. So
thanks for the compliment.
I don't know. I think when you look at the team, Alabama, look at the schedule, look at who's coming back, the experience that they have. I don't think, you can sit here and go, oh, they're going to be 11-1, or they're going to be. I think that's dumb to say that. I think you're going to say, hey, this is going to be a tough year. Okay, this is a big year, in my opinion, for Kalen DeBoer as coach. Well, which direction they're going to go. I mean, Alabama fans are not going to be happy with 10-2, 9-3, getting out.
Wait.
10-2. They did some good things last year. They made it to Atlanta, the SEC championship. They made it to the college football playoffs. For most people, for most teams in the country, that's suffice. That's okay. That's something to build, and I think it's something to build on if you're Alabama in this new coaching regime. So I'm looking at. I don't know what their record's going to be. I just know they got a lot of work to do. They got a lot to prove, and it's going to be very difficult. That's what I do know.
Can you still hear me good? Oh, so he can't hear me. I was wondering what was going on because I was talking. Can you hear me better now? Still can't hear me well? Reed, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good deal. I'll keep rolling for a second. All right. Well, thanks for that compliment, by the way. He basically called our conversation stupid. But to be fair, I mean, like I said, it's way too early. But listen, it's talk radio. You got to come up with something. He should know better than anybody. But anyway, but he's 100% right in his point that it is way too early to talk about it. But that's what we do on talk radio, man. One thing I learned, matter of fact, learned from him since he did it for a number of years. All right, there you go. You got me. I was just telling everybody, thanks for calling our conversation dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But let me ask you this though. So when we used to talk about it in the past, like a year ago, when we used to kind of give projections and stuff around like springtime, I'm saying, like, hear me out. That's why I always clear it by saying anything is like we could go 10-2, 11-1. No one knows, right? God knows, right? You'll like that one. God knows. He's the only one that knows. But it's sports talk radio, and I'm just saying, people ask questions because they want to know, like, hey, what are your thoughts given how the roster looks, or with our schedule? I don't think it's a dumb conversation. Maybe if you want to say if you take it too serious and then you get mad at people for giving their thought, or people are start arguing over that, I think that can be dumb. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing just to kind of discuss it, like, because you're right, it means absolutely nothing. Just like the preseason rankings, they mean absolutely nothing. If you go back and look at which we did, look at how many professional national analysts had picked Clemson to win the national championship. They picked Penn State to win the national championship. They picked Texas to win the national state championship. I mean, and you see how those teams ended. Texas went terrible, but they didn't even make the college football playoffs. So I'll be the first one to agree with you. I mean, it means absolutely nothing. But like I said, I just look at it as it's a good conversation to have.
No, I mean, but I think you can look at it and say and kind of frame it differently, right? Like,
how would you frame it?
I would frame it like, with all the transfer portal, we saw who's gone, who came in. We saw the recruiting turnout. We're looking at the schedule. We see that Alabama lost You know,
that's what we did.
All right, but then you say, what do you think? What does 2026 look like? Not from a record standpoint.
No.
but,
You came in late on the conversation. The question literally was, what are your expectations for Alabama? To me, yeah, that's how we did it. And that's why I always use, for me, I always say, I'm not just going off of, I think. I'm going off of exactly what you said. I'm saying, well, I'm looking at all the pieces that we have, and I'm just thinking of how this team right now is put together, and in my mind, how that will translate for this upcoming year. That's all it is. But I get what you're saying. But no, Adam's question was about the expectations, and I think it's an interesting question because, like you said, some people feel like this is just another year for Kalen DeBoer. They're giving him time. But I'm with you and Mike Johnson, our guest from yesterday. I do think year 3 is a pretty important year, right? Just given, and we already talked about this. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we already know. I mean, if those are more competitive games, the games that we lost, I think it's a whole different conversation we're having right now. But because of the way some of those went, I think there is a little bit more pressure than there probably would have or should have been. But it is what it is. Let's move on though, because I know.
But let me say this. I think the pressure of Kalen DeBoer more his coaching than even the players, right? Because listen, one thing we learned from this past season is that it's possible for anybody to win a national championship.
You think so?
Absolutely. I mean, so I think anybody who has somebody, and you got a coach that knows how to construct a team, right? Like Indiana did this year. Nobody would have. It's Indiana. I mean, yeah, last year they were decent, pretty good. Got the playoffs and got beat. Then this year they win it, right? They got a team that's composed of 20 years old. So everybody's going to start looking at the model because we said all the time when we're in the National Football League, it's a copycat league. Coach is going to look at the success of other teams, and they're going to say, okay, well, what do they do? Everybody's going to start doing that now. I don't need to go out and win the recruiting rankings anymore. I need guys that have played football. You know what? It mimics the college basketball NCAA tournament. That's why smaller teams, the Butlers of the world, the Creightons of the world, teams like that can go on these runs. And one of the things I used to listen to Jim Nance and some of these announcers talk about, they would say, these guys are older teams. These guys have players that have played a lot of basketball, right? They're seasoned and they're veteran oriented.
Right.
Versus a team that's got 5 stars, 55 Oregon, 58, 60 Alabama. Yeah, they got the rankings, but they had positions where guys were inexperienced. And so you put them again. That's why I said experience always outweighs talent. It's going to win. It's going to take over. It's like if I know how to play the game, that's when you get to the league, right? NFL. You get a young guy that's highly talented, but because he hasn't played quarterback, receiver, like he can play against a veteran guy that's don't have the talent, but he plays better because he understands and he knows how to play the game. So what teams are going to do right now is they're going to try to build like South Carolina. They got 30 older players, guys that have been playing. That hurts high school players, obviously. But they went and got guys, even if they played in the group of 5, but they got a lot of snaps, right? And they know how to play the game. So you go get those kind of players that can play, and you put them all together. You don't need 55 stars. You need some dudes that just know how to play. They're stronger. They're faster. They're mentally more secure there. Yeah, and that's going to be. This is why Indiana won. Indiana didn't win the championship because they were immensely more talented. Alabama was much more talented than this football team.
I agree.
Right, but they blew them out. And you look at youth, and then you say, man, this team is older than something. What, like a third of the NFL teams?
No, not that far. They average like 23 years old, and I think there's some teams in the NFL that might average around 25, 26, but not like older.
They were older than some of the NFL teams. Google it.
On average, no.
Google it.
I don't know. There's no NFL team that averages 23 years old. There's not.
They was older than that. They was 24 plus.
I'm not sure, but that's besides the point. Listen, and I'm with you that I agree that watching them play, I mean, it's clear that the experience that those guys had, it did remind me of the likes of, you see the tournament teams, right? I think Coach Al put in here, like Gonzaga, those experienced guys.
Yeah.
They might not have a bunch of guys that are going to play in the NBA or that were big-time high school recruits, but they played a lot of college basketball, and they know how to play within the system. They play with great fundamentals and technique, and they're easy to coach because they know what to expect. But that's the part I will add, though. The only thing I don't like about the whole talk about Indiana being so old is I do think it takes away from the coaching job that Cignetti did, and there's no denying what he did, him and that staff, because there also was probably some other teams in college football that had older players, but what they didn't have was that culture, that system, that scheme that allowed their players to flourish and really make the most out of it. Because think about it. Look at Indiana's, like, their defensive front. They've got good players, but I don't know how many are going to be viewed as like first-round draft picks. I'm sure some probably made some money for themselves with what they did this past season. But I think you have to understand that it's no different, too, than having the older guys give you an advantage, but you still have to put them in the right positions. You still have to be able to, out-coach the other football team, the other staff. And that was one thing that they also did better than almost anybody. I mean, just watching their game plan against us, watching their game plan against Oregon, right? I mean, like, everything they do has purpose. It has intentionality. And they're physical. Like, they have all it's not just the age, but it's all the little details. And I agree with you. People will probably try to take that approach. But here's my thing, how it relates back to Alabama. We didn't have that approach in the portal. If anything, all the guys we got from the portal were all young, except the young man from Mississippi State, couple fourth-year guys in Tompkins. I think he's going on his fourth year. Maybe one of the offensive linemen or something like that. But a lot of them were also young players. So that still leaves Alabama a pretty relatively young team. So
let me give you this right here. Roster comparison or composition.
Mm-hmm.
Their team featured 47 players in the 22 to 25-year-old range.
47?
47 players were 22 to 25. That's what I'm saying to compare.
Yeah, no.
It says the average age is close to that of the Green Bay Packers, which their average age is 25. They had 47 players, 22 to 25. And those guys, I promise you, were most of their main players.
Sure.
Now, they're freshmen, 18. They're going to bring their average down, but their average age is a lot more than what you think. That's what I'm saying to you.
Well, no. I'm not saying it. No, I think it's about what I think. I said 23 years old.
No, but you averaging 30 guys that are 18 years old. Like, what I'm saying, 40.
I get what you're saying. You're saying, like, so all right. So you're starting 22, right? Which we know there's more. There's technically probably more like 25, depending on formation, personnel. Anyway, but we always go 22. You're saying they're starting 22. Yeah, probably on average, probably consistent. I'd say probably 85% of those guys are probably seniors / fifth year or 6th year guys compared to like our roster going into next year. Before actually, even with the transfer portal, I think we're sitting at like 7 total seniors on the roster again. So when I'm talking about expectations and things that I think could play a factor, that's also part of it. You're answering the question of what I've been talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about how important that experience is. Alabama does not have that going into what I feel like is a pretty important year 3, but year 4 they will have a lot more of that. That's what I'm saying. It's interesting how it all is panning out. Let's do this. We got to hit a timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we've got a couple phone calls to get to. We got some more super chats that we're going to hit during this timeout. We're going to keep on rolling right here on this Free For All Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Chow's Country Buffet.
All right. Really good conversation going, man. Really good stuff. I know we got a lot of chats. Let me get back to some of these super chats because I don't want to miss them. We got another one from our guy, Adam, our latest sponsor here on the show. Again, big shout out to Adam Lamparello Law, our official lawyer here on the show. But again, don't forget, they offer a multitude of services from test prep, you name it, all that. And I'll get you all those great details. But again, Lamparello-Law will be the website when they officially launch, and I'll keep you updated on that. Plus, we'll get to hear from Adam himself on Thursdays coming up here in a little bit. So Adam with another super chat. Hopefully my dad's listening. I know he's still here. I think he just took a time out. But he says, Corey, do you remember when when Buddy Ryan put the bounty on Lawrence Taylor? Oh, Lord. And then LT responded by crushing Ron Jaworski. Also, how was it playing alongside Pepper Johnson, Carl Banks, LT, and Gary Reasons? You guys were great. I can tell you this real quick, Adam, before he answers. He talks about those names you just mentioned all the time, so they clearly – I didn't get to really watch them. I think when he retired, I was maybe 4 years old, but he lists those guys all the time about players that he played with that are really good players. And the bounty hole – tell me about the bounty thing. I'm curious. What is that about?
Well, bounties were
well, I don't know. I know what it is, but I'm saying –
I know, but they were normal when I played. I mean, they were normal. Coaches – we used to have meetings about certain players, and coaches sometimes would put up 10 G's. Players would put up 10, 15,000, whatever, to get them, knock them out the game. And we had bounties on certain quarterbacks, running backs. That's what I'm telling you. Like the game today, these quarterbacks have run the football with no fear. You know, they pointing. You know, they. All that
hey,
stuff
wait,
do,
don't do that. That might have some affiliation with some stuff.
I don't know, but I'm saying that's what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I played, I promise you, they wouldn't do that long because they would be a bounty. They would be something on their head, and when you got a guy like me playing with LT and Pepper Johnson, these guys, listen, when you making back in 1991 $90,000.
Annually? That was a salary?
Yeah, for me, 90 grand. I mean, they gave me my signing bonus. I think they paid me on a EBT card or something.
Okay, well, hey, listen.
Listen,
you want to hear something crazy? You got an offensive tackle that's taking visits right now, and he's allegedly charging $100K more than your rookie salary just to take a visit.
No, that was obviously 35 years ago. But
right.
Listen, but to Adam's question, it was great playing alongside Pepper Johnson. I was just with them up in Pennsylvania. He and I, Keith Byers, who played with the Eagles in Miami, and we get together in these golf events, have a good time. And glad that Gary Reasons is doing good. I know I think he was an attorney, but he's doing some other stuff. Carl Banks still working with the Giants as far as doing the TV games. Him and Bob Pop, who's a good friend of mine, so he's still a part of the program. And Ron Jaworski is a good friend of mine. Matter of fact, we played a tournament up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, a very, very, very good event for breast cancer. And so I get a chance to see guys, and it's amazing. If you could have a camera, man, we go. I'm just thinking about this. It was me, Pepper, Mark Collins, Seth Joyner. I mean, just a ton of guys, man, and we get together and talk about, these games and talk about the game today versus the game back then. I mean, you get to hear great conversations, great stories. We all have great stories, man. LT been to this. I mean, he gets, and then they love to get him going, and he starts telling all kind of crazy stories. But that are not lies, by the way.
Yeah, welcome back into this Free For All Friday. This is the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230. WTBC. Great question by Adam. He was talking about my dad's playing days, and I didn't realize. How many? So LT definitely a Hall of Famer. Carl Banks, Michael Strahan. You play not a Hall of Famer, but Michael Strahan for sure.
Michael and LT was on my Giants teams, and then of course you got Randy Moss, John Randall for my Minnesota teams.
Yeah, he played some good players, man, for sure. About that. All right, let's run to the phone lines real quick on the radio side. Again, I can hang out a couple minutes after the stream, but I want to make sure we squeeze in these calls real quick. Again, big shout out to Adam. Lamparello-law.com will be coming to you very soon. We'll keep you guys posted on that. All right, we got Pat up first in the phone lines. Pat, welcome in.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Corey. Or afternoon now. Oh, Corey, I want to give a public address announcement that everybody needs to, this coming up week, it's going to be 18 to 20 degrees or below almost every night this coming week. Where parts of Tennessee, it's going to be down to 5 degrees. People need to fill their bathtubs up with water. Reason being is that you can't flush your toilets if your pipes freeze. But if you got water in your bathtub, you may be able to flush your toilet. And that sounds silly, but that's as truthful as you can get.
That's good info. But Pat, let me ask you: what if the bathroom is one of the bathrooms with only a shower? There's no like tub.
You got to find a sink.
Then you better get you some 5-gallon buckets.
All right, 5-gallon buckets, man. I might do that.
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. They need to do that. But hey, we just got a wide receiver. He's 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing. He did come off of a 5A state championship football team, and he runs a 4.340 laser timed. So he's fast, but that's in shorts, but I think that's in cleats, so that's not. Well, I looked it up, and they said that they thought it was in. They didn't know for sure, but that they thought it was in cleats and not track shoes. 4.3 in cleats is fast. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. We talked about him earlier. Go ahead.
But he's 155 pounds. The Slim Reaper weighed 185, 180, but he was 6'2". It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And, we had a kid come out of high school. I had 2 guys running 4.4. One though was 6'4", 235, running 4.4 in pads, and the other one was 6'2". He went on to play for the Miami Dolphins defensive back at 6'2" and 185 pounds. But Mel Gray was on Monday Night Football. Never will forget it. Howard Cosell. That's how far it goes back. Howard said this Bosar's kid just ain't got the speed for the NFL. Mel Gray run a 4.3 in pads. And Mel Gray just burned his butt for 2 touchdowns, and that was the end of that Bosar's kid at Miami.
Yeah.
Speed in football pads is totally different than speed in track shorts.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we saw a couple of clips, or I think it might have been one play of his, but he definitely he's got good game speed, and that's a lot different. You're right than 40s. I know guys that run really fast 40s, but game speed's not quite there, and I know guys that run a slower 40. When you turn on the tape and they're flying on the football field, but he looks to have both. Yeah. And I think it's just really important. We added some more depth to that room. I talked about, you need bodies, even just practice bodies. I mean, it's important.
And real quick while we got you, Daddy, Alabama just changed from private schools playing with public schools. I don't think private schools ought to be able to play with public schools. And see what he thinks about it. Because they are, like Montgomery Catholic does bring in ringers from all over the place because they got plenty of money in order to have football players, and they're playing in a 5A classification, and it just is not fair to the rest of the public schools when they take these good, fast. I'm going to call them the athletes that the skill position players. We won't say whether they're white or black, but we all know what color they are. And they shouldn't be taking these kids out of the public schools and just so they can go win a state championship. That's a bunch of bull hockey. Now, if they was truly wanting to get them an education, give them an education and not make them play football.
Mm.
You know,
I know exactly what you're
don't be. I mean, because it's I just totally disagree with it. I sent my kids to public school because I had 2 good athletes, and if you can't play with the public school kids, it don't matter if you can play with the private school kids. That's a bunch of crap. And hey, I don't care what anybody says, and I'll talk anybody down that wants to beg to differ with me.
No, I agree with
that. It's the truth. And I didn't do it because hey, you got to work with folks. You got to go to school with folks. Hey, and that business about sending children to private schools is because you don't like this or you don't like that. That's a bunch of bull malarkey. And anyway, that's my 2 cents on that deal, guys.
Yeah, yeah, we appreciate it, Pat. We got another caller we're going to try to hit real quick. We're running short on time, but no, definitely good stuff. We appreciate you as always, man.
No, he's right, because what's happening with these private schools, they go to the public and they're able to recruit some of the best talent to come there and play. We got a school here in Columbia called Hammond, and they won, God knows how many state championships. I mean, they had Jordan Birch. He was a 5-star, went to South Carolina and transferred to Oregon. Boogie Huntley, he's playing in the NFL right now. They had another running back. So they've gotten these guys from public schools, put them in the private. They don't need but 1 or 2 players. You got 1 or 2 players in those leagues.
They dominate.
Yeah, you're gonna dominate, and that's what they do. They're not getting 10 guys; they're getting 1, 2, or 3 guys, and they're tearing up the league. But they're offering, hey, you get this quality education, you get your GPA up, we get you in school, and it makes them look good. So I understand what he's saying.
Well, I was about to say that's more of a matter. It has nothing to do with skin color or any of that. It really has everything to do with just a private school trying to, duck and dodge
Well,
rules.
he's right. Well, this is
No, 100%. But I mean, it wouldn't be different if they found some European basketball player who is French and did the same thing. I get what he's saying, but my point was saying, like, to me, it's more so just about, yes, they're bending rules to go recruit players. It's more so about the recruitment of players and then bringing them into the league, then having those guys dominate, right? Just like my brother played at private school briefly, and like just call a spade. The competition in that league versus the public school league was not even close. I mean, it was a bunch of small kids kind of running around versus public school. I mean, a lot more, potential to have prospects in those games, all that stuff. But yeah, personally, I don't know what he's talking about. I'll just be honest with you. I don't keep up with high school football, so I don't know what he's talking about.
No, I know that. I know.
No, but what rule he's talking about? What is he talking about?
What do you mean, what rule?
He said something about now they can play each other. I don't know what he's talking about, so it's hard.
Oh, that's in Alabama. The state of Alabama is saying that public schools will be able to play the private schools. Now, they play already. I know for sure in basketball, even in football, they do play, but they're not games that count for us conference. But I think what he's suggesting is you might be playing in the same conference, and I don't agree with that at all. But I'll tell you what else is doing that is the charter schools, like Great Collegiate here, and these charter schools are everywhere you look now, where kids are able to go to school and focus mostly on the athletics, and they're able to recruit players to go to these charter schools and say, hey, you're getting recruited and come to my school, and these charter schools are getting these dominant high school players to come there, and they're not even going to classrooms. I mean, they go so many hours for study.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And the rest of the day, it's about working on the athletics, their strength training, their basketball/football training. So the school base is a school for athletes, and they were dominating. They had put them in like 2A in the lower part of the A's in the state. And so now they have put them in the 5A because they were dominating these high school, to the point of embarrassing these other schools because they had all these players coming from 5A, 4A, big time high schools and playing at charter schools, and then they're dominating, the league. But now here's the state of South Carolina, they have made them go to 5A, and things they definitely changed. So,
well, yeah, I was just going to say, well, again, but that doesn't have anything. It's not as much to do with. It has everything to do with just the recruitment of players, and then now what you're saying, the classification of these schools. That way, they're in the correct leagues or conferences. Like I said, private schools playing public schools. I mean, listen, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I mean, public schools are probably going to be a little bit more fit, just from my experience. But like I said, I don't really know a whole bunch about that. I kind of want to talk about what we were talking about. 205-342-9904 is the number. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in.
Gentlemen, how's it going today?
It's going good, Smitty. How's everything?
Good. When people talk about Alabama playoff stuff, I want fans to understand one thing. The committee does not care about how tough your schedule is. All they care about is how many losses you have. Just remember that if this team goes 9-3 and gets left out. And I just want, because they reward you playing Ball State and, Rose Beef Tech and your local technical college. They reward that. So I want people to understand that. But, when people talk about the portal, right, one reason that we got that Mississippi State left tackle is because Mississippi State was trying to bring in Jordan Seaton. And the guy was like, I'm starting. You're recruiting him over me. I see the writing on the wall. So that's a drawback of wanting to portal everything. Because those young guys, the recruits you do have, they're like, I'm out of here. And now you stuck. Neither one. But I know you're up against. I'll say this.
No. You're good. No, you got time. We're going to combine. You got 5 minutes or so. You're good. Take your time.
Okay. like when they talk about these preseason polls, I've always thought they were silly because it's a lot of lazy analysis. They just look at, all right, who came back to school? Do you know who your quarterback is? And I actually made money because sports betting legal in Arizona. Sorry, Pastor Miller. But I made good money betting the under on Texas, Clemson, and Penn State. I was telling you that in the summer because they didn't bring up the fact Texas was replacing 4 out of 5 offensive linemen, including number 9 pick in the draft. Clemson, they stunk against the run last year, and I don't think Klubnik was ever that good, but they kept talking because he came back to school. And what happened the next year? Klubnik was not that good, and they still couldn't stop the run. And they got 2 guys that will be top half of the first round on defensive line. Penn State, Drew Allen stunk ever since Joe Clapton was hyping him up for 3 years. What happened before he got hurt? He stunk again. It's like these people don't watch the games. And everybody anointing Arch because they want it so bad for Arch. And what Texas is doing again, they in this transfer portal scouting all these skilled players, but they haven't even gotten the numbers Alabama has in the portal of offensive line. Their line was struggling last year. And I ask you this. These portal rankings are dumb as well. How in the world is Jordan Seaton not the number 1 player in the portal, but Cam Coleman is as a receiver? Should the offensive left tackle, maybe top 5 pick, be the number 1 guy in the portal, not the receiver?
Wait, who was over him?
Cam Coleman was ranked the number 1 portal player. Jordan Seaton is like number 4 or 5. I'm like,
yeah, but you heard me. I've said it already. I don't know who makes those ratings, and I don't buy into. I couldn't even tell you where our guys are rated at. I've never even mentioned what. Notice anytime we've broken them down, there's not been one mention of where they rated in the portal.
Yep.
Because I don't even know. I get the name and I pull up their all 22 tape and I just base it off of that. I wouldn't if I'm an Alabama fan. Don't worry about where guys are rated, man. Just
don't
go and watch them for yourself, and you can kind of get your own idea. I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, because the reason I'm so excited about Terrence Green is because that Florida State game, what people miss, they really miss Tim Keenan up the middle, being a nose.
Yeah.
And, they don't get gaudy stats, but they open up so many things for everybody else. And one guy we're gonna miss, but I just think like when everybody's talking about what's good enough, what's not good enough, the question I will ask everybody is who will come in besides 2015, 2016 Nick Saban that will make it good enough in today's college football.
You're saying like in terms of a coaching staff, or what are you referring to?
I'm talking about like expectation of winning games, championships in this age of college football, where guys can just transfer at willy-nilly. You may not be able to keep your coaches and stuff like that because everybody's hyping up Signetti, right? His older guys were with him from jump. They didn't even pop up out of nowhere. They were with him in his program. And I think what fans got to stop looking at what somebody else is doing, comparison to thief of joy, and look at what you're doing with your school and how you can build your team. And I think that's what fans got to understand as well, because it's not championship or bust in this era. It's about just making the playoffs and seeing what happens when you get in.
No, I agree.
That's a good one.
You too, Smitty. I definitely I hear what you're saying. I will say though, I mean, at some point though, if you keep getting into the playoffs, but then you have losses like we had, I feel like people will get a little tired of that eventually, but hopefully that's not the case. We got to end on that note. Appreciate everybody, all the contributions this week right here on the Miller's Edge. Big shout out to Joey Williams with the super chat. Before we get out on radio, I'm going to stay behind on the stream and mention the mindset needing to change, and we need to get back to competing for 4 quarters. We'll talk about that here in a moment on the stream, but that'll do it for us on the radio side of things. Big shout out to Reed, big shout out to Chase, everybody else behind the scenes making it happen. And we'll see you guys Monday right here on the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's catch back up on some of these chats here, because I know we had to get out on the radio side of things. Chris says, exactly, CML47, watch them for yourself instead of the portal ranking numbers, but some don't know how to evaluate talent. like that from a position detail standpoint. They just go by stars and rankings. And absolutely, I mean, and I get it. I mean, I don't expect everybody to necessarily know what to look for and how to judge, but I'm just saying, if even without that, I mean, just go watch them personally and see kind of how you feel about it. Because a lot of the times, man, these rankings and ratings, they're literally just that. It's people that, and I hate saying like that because I know these services, for the most part, they try to do a good job putting good content out for folks. But there's no way you've watched 3,000 guys in the portal and you've actually come up with, okay, this guy's going to. I think they're almost even just running a computer system. Just like again, no disrespect to people that do this, but nowadays people over rely on like chat. I see people using Chat GPT to tweet about like sports. And it's Chat GPT because half the information is not even like accurate information. And who knows, they might use that for these ratings. But I love how he just put his phone right there. So everybody's just walking by like on the stream. I kind of feel bad for him. But yeah, like we had the cowboy walk by a minute ago with all the patches on his jacket. He had a Panthers patch, man. Shout out to the Panthers. Oh, I put him on mute. Oh, go ahead.
Did you see him with that cane?
Yeah, he was smooth, man. I was kind of giggling. I wasn't trying to make fun of him because he looked like he was a veteran, so I appreciate his service. I was just giggling because he had about every stamp and patch you could imagine. I saw Panthers on there. I think I saw some military stuff. It looked like, I mean, he had a patch for everything he's been through in his life. I mean, which is cool. It's cool. But then he had the cowboy hat with like his.
I'm just giving. I charge my iPad up, so
I'm
giving the people. I'm in the weight room here at Cadillac still, so.
Yeah,
it's like so you said.
Nah, but listen, I tell people, man, they think South Carolina is this big beachy place because of Charles. So I'm like, hey, man, we got some Cowboys back home, man. You see my guy? We got the Black Cowboys too. We got what's that movie?
Hey, wait a minute.
No, I'm serious. There's a movie about Black Cowboys. A damn good movie. I forgot what it was called.
They give you
historically speaking, I think some of the first Cowboys were indeed. I mean, even going back, I think you had some. No.
Can I get a bag of cheeses, my brother?
Oh my God! I think there's some Mexican Cowboys, Black Cowboys. There's a. Yeah, there you go. Just okay. And we got to listen to some Cheez-Its.
Cheese.
Wait, let me catch back up on. Tia said Corey, all right. He had the doctor office up. No, he's at the dealership. He's fine. He's at the okay. All right. This okay. We got little kid about to get Okay. All right.
But this is comedy hour.
I'm glad we're off air now because I mean we got daycare going on. We got Black Cowboys walking by / Vietnam vets.
Now here's the thing though for the chat and folks out there. I've been I just came off my 21-day Daniel fast. So first time last night. I ended it. No nut, fruits and vegetables, 21 days, no sugar. No soft drinks, just water.
Wait. 21 days, brother. When was the last time you were down here, brother? You had some food.
No, I can eat vegetables. I can eat fruit.
Okay. Wait. No. You left after that. Okay.
That was Christmas. I was on there.
Okay. I was making sure. I was like, hold on, don't be lying now.
But I,
Come on, agent. Agent said he thought you were at a retirement home. Come on, now. All right, come on. Oh man, that's funny.
I'm really retired though, Agent. That's for sure.
Nah, he is for sure. Well, I mean, outside the preaching. Lynn says, my question for the Millers: can DeBoer stand another 9-3 regular season? I say that because I have not seen any development on the offensive line or defensive line, and we took all freshmen and sophomore in this portal class.
Another 9-3 year, he won't be fired, but the next year for sure
will be a lot of pressure.
No, it will be make or break.
I was going to say that too. I know some people probably feel different, but I'm with you. I think 9-3. I think at worst you just have a lot of pressure going into year 4, which to me, the roster looks a little bit more constructed for the following year, given the youth. But here's what I'll say, though. The only thing I could see happening if you do have a 9-3 type year, because I know everybody's like, oh, well, look, we're relying on high school talent. We know how this transfer portal works. And I could just imagine if there is some bumps in the road, that 9-3 feels kind of, because I feel like there's a difference between like a 9-3 and you got 3 competitive losses, and it's just like, damn, you know what I mean? Or like 9-3 and those 3 losses weren't great losses like we've seen over the last couple of years. You just wonder what's the culture going to look like, and do you have to worry about a number of guys hitting the portal? You know what I mean? Like, it just depends how it goes. I mean, it's a good question, but I mean, listen, I think from administration wise, I think 9-3. I think he's still probably fine going into year 4, but there will be a lot of pressure. But I think it depends on how those 3 losses are. If they look like Indiana type losses, I think that's a totally different, I guess, dynamic than if they were Oklahoma type losses. If they're 3 Oklahoma type losses, I mean, I think you're fine going into year 4. Just some pressure on you, like, hey, this is a make or break year, like you said.
So what would it look like? What would it look like if do you think if he goes 6-6?
Oh, no. I'm not gonna lie. 6-6. I don't even think there's a consideration.
Well, could he survive that?
No, personally, I don't think you survive a 6-6. If I'm being completely honest with you. Like, I think because just think about the uproar from the fan base. I don't even think, even if Greg Byrne wanted to, I don't think he could. I don't know. I just don't think.
How much that buyout is?
Because I understand that, but here's the thing: this is what their question is going to be. I mean, you've had the past 2 years, you've had top 5 recruiting class, and I know those guys haven't had full time to develop, but I don't think you could justify going 6-6 given that it's year 3. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if it was year 2, maybe, but year 3, I don't think that would. Nah. But looking at the schedule, I mean, 6-6, they would have to like try to lose that many games. I mean, we have a tough schedule, but 6-6.
I mean, you went to the schedule the other day, and it's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, I'll pull it back over. Well, hold on, wait. I think we have one more. Well, let me answer this by Joey. Mindset needs to change. Again, thank you so much, Joey, for the super chat, man. I promise we weren't trying to neglect this. We were trying to get those calls in, and then Jesus.
What in the world is wrong with this kid?
Mindset needs to change. We needed to compete for 4 quarters. What can be done? That's all. I mean, that's a mindset thing, man. That's a mentality. That's a culture. And that's why I'm, like I said, I always try to look at every angle. And one angle I'm looking at is, could a younger roster be beneficial from the standpoint that maybe you have a bunch of hungry guys that are fighting for opportunities, knowing there's a lot of competition. Like, I can just tell you from a player perspective, like when my freshman and sophomore year, when I knew we had Denzel Duvall, Dylan Lee, Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, I mean, there's a number of guys. I'm not saying it affected how I competed, because it didn't. I still was going to compete like I wanted to earn the job, but there still was something in the back of my head that I was realistic, and I knew I'm not going to be a starter this year or the next year. But I just knew, like, all right, I'm going to have to carve out some type of role, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get at least something. And I do think that does play a role where, like, if there is a completely open competition, like, I just feel like the mindset is a little bit different. Not saying you don't compete as hard when there is somebody in front of you. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. If you got Caden Proctor at left tackle in front of you, you're going to compete your ass off, but you really are kind of going into, like, I'm competing realistically for the backup tackle spot. Maybe I can carve out a role elsewhere on the line. Versus now, you got like 4 wide open spots in the O-line. I mean, I think the competition, I would be shocked and disappointed if this spring it isn't like an all-out, I mean, dudes just going at it, battling for those spots. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, like, there's a lot of spots up for grabs right now at the University of Alabama. Why would you not? And I think that's why they're able to get a number of guys to come in here and, compete, right? Because I don't see anybody. Oh, my God. This is a comedy. He got the shine on his head, boy. He just got out the chair. I don't see how you could not come in here and not have that mindset with all the opportunities available. So would CC come to Bama for any money? CC. Who are you referencing, Louis? Wait, who am I? Let me think. CC. Practice and preparation need to be reevaluated. I mean, listen, I've seen a number of their practice. I mean, a lot of practice. They practice. They practice, well. I mean, they have good practice habits. I know everybody's freaking out about the music. It's not the music. I mean, they go hard at practice. Hell, they have some live tackle periods at their practices, and we never did that. Under Coach Saban, we never went live. They go live sometimes. Oh, Kurt Signetti. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't. Now, if you're saying like years down the road, maybe, but I mean, he just got re-signed by Indiana. He's got Mark Cuban in his back pocket writing blank checks or passing out blank checks.
Battery 97%.
Why did that sound so clear? That was weird. Yeah. And that's another good point. I mean, a lot of this rides on the administration too. I mean, the success of Coach DeBoer. I mean, that also reflects. Y'all are wild in the chat. That reflects, their decisions. There's a lot of that's why I say, like, you might not think it, but trust me. I mean, people can say all they want. Oh, no one's listen. There's a lot of people that's. I guess their futures were, are decided by the success of how this whole thing goes. So just know, I mean, if there needs to be pressure, there will be pressure. Hitting that practice during the season doesn't make you better. It causes injury. I will say this. They don't do it like, it's not like, I can't even be focused, right? I mean, I feel like I got a cast of characters walking by the screen. They're not like doing it. No, they're not doing it like when I say live periods. I'm saying like they might have a live goal line period. You know what I mean? So
like
it's not like
907 short yard you goal line.
Yeah, they might have one period where they go live. It's not like they're doing it all the time. I know immediately people are gonna be like, oh, that's why everybody's hurt at practice. I don't know if those injuries came during those periods. We had guys get injured at practice even when we were only doing thud, but. I mean, in the NFL, Panthers, I had live periods, and a lot of other teams really didn't do that. So they said you sit by the snack machine. You must be by the snack machine. That's why everybody keeps walking by.
Yeah, that's why I'm moving. I'm going out here with an escalator.
What's going on in meetings? Are players understanding film? I hadn't sat in a meeting, so I couldn't tell you, but your best show, I think, today. Oh, Louis, I appreciate that. It's been kind of comedy since he's at his dealership. A million things going on, but they're using chalkboards. Y'all are wild. No, listen. I haven't sat in a meeting, so I don't know. But I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I wish I could give you a better answer. I don't know. I don't think it's that. What did Trevor say? Do you think after a hard battle this spring, maybe they can still get some ice cream?
Well, they got watermelon ice cream.
No, they do have watermelon though. But we've been doing that. That's a normal thing. That's for like rehydration. They have the watermelon. They have the fruit.
Don't say that too loud because somebody gonna say that's a racist thing.
Nah, man, it ain't racist. I mean,
giving you brothers all that watermelon.
Who don't like some good watermelon? I mean, it is definitely one of our favorites. I guess I get half a slice, but yeah, we love it. Pudding, no pudding, They got like the fruit kebab things. I mean, let me stop because y'all are gonna start making clowning and stuff. But that's normal. We've been doing that. Miss Amy used to always. Matter of fact, listen. Before y'all jump on them, I will say this. We used to get ice cream. Get this, guys. We used to get ice cream after practice under Coach Saban. I promise to God, I'm not making this up. We actually did. However, it came from a place called now I'm not going to say the name unless they want to sponsor, but a local place here, man. They used to give us like these ice cream popsicle things after practice. But I think the whole premise was, and it was on Thursdays, our final practice of the week. So our last practice of the week, Miss Amy, our nutritionist, she used to have like the popsicles or like ice cream popsicles lined up, and we used to grab them on the way into. We used to call it one reel. And so basically we would finish practice a little early on Thursdays, and then defense would go in the meeting room, and then offense would go in the meeting room, and we would do like basically like call outs. So coordinator would put up a series of like 10 plays, and we would sit in there, and then he would call out a play, and then it would be on us to communicate, with each other, like the call, like we're out on the field. So he'll pull up a look, say they're in, trips bunch, and they motion a 2x2. He'll just call out, hey, base strong 3 auto right here, which we probably wouldn't be in base right there, but still base strong 3 auto. So as an outside backer out, make the strength call, Ralph, we're rushing from the right side, rip Liz, stuff like that. Like we'll do all that. That's what we did on Thursdays after practice. And we got ice cream on the way to go do that. I don't know who set that up. Now, there was no ice cream trucks, but coming off the practice field, there's some ice cream pops. And then during fall camp, we would have like a
maybe Ellis set that up. Maybe you think?
Hell no. If it was Ellis, he would have had cigars waiting on us, since he always chews.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yes,
I know. No, and then during fall camp to hydrate, we used to have like a halftime, and they'd pass out like popsicles and stuff to cool your body down. You got to get the body temperature down. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Coach DeBoer and them boys were in for a rude awakening in their first fall camp, because them boys they ain't feel no heat like this down here. It was different.
Probably why they so soft.
Come on, man. All right. We ain't doing all that. Come on, man. What's the word on
Alabama? Listen, no. Alabama's soft. Let's just be real. Now, I cut up and let you all see the cast of characters here at the dealership, but let's just be real. They're soft. They're like that ice cream that y'all eating. Soft serve. Let's call a spade. Alabama is soft serve. And it's really unheard of and unthinkable to say that. But if we're being honest, the way they played against Georgia, against even Oklahoma in the first half, the whole game against Indiana, soft serve ice cream. Yeah, right out the machine. And that's to say that about an Alabama football team is sad, because for decades this is not who they were, and the fact that that's who they are now is a problem. And I think someone had put on the chat here, the mindset has to change. And anytime you're talking about team oriented, even as an individual playing golf, the mind, like what's your mindset? You can be defeated before you even swing the golf club if your mind isn't right. That's why I love when Coach Cotton would always talk about screaming, get your mind right. He used to tell you all the time, screaming it from the top of his lungs, get your mind right. Because he knew that mentally you got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to adapt. You got to be ready to take on the challenges from other teams. And if you're going to do that at a great success rate, then your mind have to be right. And so that's the biggest, I think, lack of this program is their mind. They're not a mentally tough team. And I can say soft, I can say physically soft, but I also can use the word soft as it pertains to mentally, because I think they're soft mentally. And I think that's where, when you hear me say coaches or players take on the persona of the coaches mentally, if they're not a tough-minded bunch, Signetti, would you call him tough mentally? When you talking about got the nerves to go for it on fourth down there?
No, I mean, if you're going off of that, though, I mean, Kevin DeBoer goes for a little bit too much on fourth down, but I know what you're saying.
The mindset, the thinking of his football team, having a player like, the quarterback that he can trust, put the ball in his hands and say, make the play. We sit there and go, why don't get the ball to Ryan Williams? Why don't throw it to him more? Your best player, if you sit him on the sidelines. I mean, the mindset of Alabama's football team, it's soft.
But let me wait. Let me ask you this though, real quick, before you get too far, and I don't want to forget. I mean, cut you off, but two things. To be fair, there was a lot of resiliency shown at times. If you go back and watch the games of them being able to, last minute kind of do some things, like South Carolina. Now I know you guys kind of gifted us one a little bit. Not really. Well, technically we punched the ball out, but last year, the year before, y'all did gift us one. This year we did force a fumble, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, there were some moments that we were complimenting the resiliency of this football team. And to be fair, they did go on a little bit of a stretch. I'm not making excuses. I do agree. They do appear to be soft, if in our terms at least, right, as a football team. But let me ask you this, though. If we're being completely honest with you, 2023 Alabama with Coach Saban in his last year, one could argue that team, even maybe the year before potentially, because I remember in 2022, I think Bryce Young was running for his life. The offensive line didn't. I just feel like it kind of, to me, I think it's not only on the coaching staff. I think that's a big piece of it. But I think another piece is the players you're bringing in. To me, I think what happened was, and I told people this all the time. Remember, we talked about this. I think over the years, because we had Mike Johnson on the show who came in like what, 07 range, right? So he was one of the earlier groups, right, with Coach Saban. So he was part of the rebuild process. He was part of the signing classes that didn't have all the 5 stars. And then what happened, in my opinion, was even when I came in, it was number 1 signing class, bunch of 5 stars. Luckily, we relied on the older guys to set the standard and basically paved the way for us in terms of what was expected, no matter of what you ranked, all this stuff. But I think over the years, it started to kind of get a little watered down because there's less and less of the OGs, the originals, not just with the players, but also the coaching staff. So get this, by Coach Saban's last few years, you got a staff of guys like the linebacker coach. He had no experience with Coach Saban, right? A number of guys. I know you had Kevin Steele, but he was on his way out to retirement. He just wanted that extra year to get some more retirement. You know what I mean? Like, you had a number of guys that didn't even, as coaches themselves, know what the hell the Bama standard was. So I think it was just too much for Coach Saban to be the only person trying to feed that into his team. And I would argue even his last couple of teams weren't, ideally, what you would expect out of a Alabama team in regards to their physicality, if that makes sense. So I'm curious, do you agree with that? Think about his last year. Think about Jalen Milroe, that team that they played Michigan, gave up like 4 sacks in the first couple series.
I think I would agree somewhat. I mean, especially in the trenches. That's been a problem. We stated this before, that this has been on a decline for three years, right? Maybe 4. That we were questioning, are they going out and getting the right players? Mm-hmm. Right? We didn't see that toughness from the players that everybody was turning and doing cartwheels about in the recruiting process. And then these guys get here, and I mean, they look like Tarzan, but they played like Jane. And that has been the recipe for Alabama. You're getting these guys that look good. We talking about the kid can run, lays a 4-3. We look at all of these things, and then when the game starts, we don't see those kids. We like to use in ministry fruition. We don't see the fruition of these athletes, and so then you start to question it: are they recruiting the right guys? Are they getting the right guys, or is it the coaching? And I think the answer lies somewhere in between. I think the answer is somewhat coaching. I don't think they have the right coaches. They're not killing the board per se, but I'm saying when it comes to position coaches, are they making the right hires? Are they bringing the right mindset of guys? Defensively, is Womack the right guys? He pushing toughness, physicality. We knocking people in the mouth. Or is it these group of coaches today that likes to be the friends with the players? They want to dap up and do all the cool handshakes and, wear skinny jeans and wear the tight runners and wear Jordans on. Coaches trying to act like they players, or are they holding these kids accountable? And that's what I question. And I think now with NIL, and now that these kids, some of them are making more money than their coaches, they're not listening. How can you hold them accountable if you got a kid, 18-year-old kid that is making more money than you? You gonna cuss him out? You gonna cuss him out and tell him to get out the drill? You gonna grab him by the jerk him up by the jersey? Yeah. He's making $500,000, you making 300. I mean,
that's a good point.
The system in itself is flawed, but I think you're right to a degree. I think Coach Saban started to sense some of this when his teams were getting soft because kids started complaining then. You know, they talk to me a certain way, or they treat me a certain way. They call him mama. They call him home. They're leaving the program. You know, they're videoing the meetings. They're, you know, like videoing after the game. I mean, all these things started. It was a downward spiral. Coach Saban saw all of this happening, and that's why he got up. Period.
Part of it. I mean, also just the fact that him being 70-something years old and the time requirements and everything that it demanded to coach at such a high level and operate and run a program like Alabama, it definitely added up. But you're right, that is part of the equation, adds to it. Real quick, I do want to get your opinion on this while we're sitting right here, because I didn't get to ask. I wanted to ask you on the radio, but I need to ask you this now, because this still is kind of crazy to me. It's seeing him in this Pistons uniform right here. Nate Oates, and this is the most recent that I've seen, according to On3, plans on playing Charles Bediako tomorrow. It says we are planning to play him. He's eligible to play. We're going to follow the court orders. Since the NCAA has already allowed professionals to play, you tell me how I'm supposed to not support Charles and the team when he's been told he's able to play. So, any thoughts on that in terms of just college athletics in general? Real quick, I've just said this.
Who was that?
Yeah, this is why I want to get your thoughts on it. So, I don't know if you remember him, but like a few years ago, we had a big center, Bediako, man. He's big presence, pretty solid player. I mean, a lot of people felt that he should have stayed in school, but he ended up leaving early after 2 years to enter the NBA draft. He was undrafted, but he did sign NBA G League. I think he even was at one point on a two-way. Didn't appear in any professional games. But this week, Alabama has been in desperate need of some big man help. And this week, he re-enrolled in classes and petitioned to get reinstated. The NCAA denied it, went to the court system. Him and his attorneys went to the court system, and they got a temporary restraining order, and he is now eligible and, in fact, suiting up to play for Alabama tomorrow. So I just –
Are you kidding me?
Nah, but here I will say this. Now, so let me throw in this context here. There has been maybe a couple other cases similar. One guy, I believe, that was drafted, only played in the G League, but returned as well. He's back playing. There's been a number of players that played professional overseas. Some of the foreign guys that play in those professional leagues that are in fact here on scholarship and playing. So it's not like there hasn't been cases. I know I'm only paying attention to it because it is Alabama. I didn't keep up with the other situations, but to me, I still just think in general, and I want to be clear, I don't support any professional. It's not just the Bediako thing, but this isn't my first choice. Now it's within the rules. So, I mean, I guess we do whatever we need to do to give ourselves a chance. But my thing is, I just don't see how any of this helps. Even the pro, I think at this point, they just need to make a rule even about the overseas pros, just so it's equal and even. And just say, hey, I mean, if you have any pro experience, even if it's overseas, unfortunately, that's it goes against your eligibility. My biggest thing is, and I'm just being honest, I'll take the crimson glasses off. The young man declared for the NBA draft. Signed with the G League stuff. I get he didn't play in a real professional game, but I'm just saying, like, I just the message that it sends, in my opinion, to all of college athletics, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I love Nate Oates. I know him personally. I support whatever decision he makes, but for all the stuff we talk about with college football and how much of a mess it is, I just don't necessarily like the message that this sends, in my opinion. I just personally don't, because it's like, hey, we just keep bending these rules for these young athletes, even in football with this whole transfer portal stuff, guys charging $100K for a visit. I'm sorry, it's just bullshit, man. Like, college sports is honestly, it's not even college sports anymore. Like, it honestly is just another professional league that's wrapped up in academics, whether it's football or basketball. That's what it feels like. Again, no disrespect to our program or Bediako or any of those guys. It's within the rules, so I'm not saying they're breaking rules. However, that doesn't mean I have to like the message that it necessarily sends for college athletics when we're supposed to be trying to get guidelines and guardrails back on this thing and help clean it back up. And
Well, it wasn't like with football. Once you declare and get an agent, not like you were declared ineligible. Now you couldn't go back. Like you couldn't say I'm
Right.
gonna get an agent, and then all of a sudden, your draft status not. I know people talked about this. Like, okay, you can put your name in the hat, but then you are projected to be a second rounder, and then all of a sudden you end up being a sixth rounder or undrafted. Then that said athlete should have an opportunity to go back to his school. I wouldn't mind
I'm good with that.
I wouldn't mind that at all. But if you go talking about going to G League and
He's been in the G League the past 2 years.
See, I got a problem with this. I mean, there's a major problem to do that and then say, okay, I'm gonna enroll back in school after 2 years. I mean, the dude looked like he's about a 15-year veteran. I mean, that's like.
Well, he's got the African genes. Them brothers be, genetically.
Yeah, but I mean,
they're built in
come
the
on.
shop, man. Them dudes are gifted.
No, I don't agree with that. I know they don't need some inside help, but you should recruit better than use your portal better. I mean, to go do this right here and to go back and say he got another year left, he can go back and play, or for conference play. That's basically a half a year. He done missed all his camp. He done missed all of non-conference play. Now he's coming in and playing in the conference. Nah, bro, this is everything is wrong with this right here. There's nothing right about this. Nothing. Now, if this was okay, I'm going to the NBA. I'm gonna forego my senior year, but then you don't get drafted. Then before you even step foot, in Chicago or in Charlotte or wherever on an NBA roster, and say, you know what, I'm gonna decide just to go back and try to get better and do better, and see what happens the following draft. I'm fine with that. But 2 years, this is unthinkable. But it just shows you how messed up sports is today. I mean, I guess it don't matter because college is not a amateur sport no more.
No,
it's professional. You're getting paid. If an athlete's getting paid, you are now a professional sport. And so, does it really matter? Probably not, because that's what they're doing anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, there's another young man. I think Baylor had some similar. I don't know if he officially played or whatnot, but I think there was one guy that also played in the G League and came back. And I want to be clear, I'm not a fan of that either. So it's not just me trying to pick on our guys here. I just, again, it's all about the message that it sends. I get it's within the rules. I just don't like the message because, I mean, look at football. I mean, like football, you can't even do the draft thing, which I wouldn't be mad if they did something like that. Like if football, they gave you, which you kind of have that window to get draft grades before you have to formally make a decision on whether you're going to declare or not. But I wouldn't be mad if they said, hey, football's similar. They extend that process, and then if a guy wants to come back, he can come back. But I just think once you choose to declare and forego, I mean, that's the wording. You're foregoing your remaining eligibility to turn pro. That's always been the language. I just think it's kind of wild to I don't know, circle back on that. And I've seen a lot of Alabama fans that they're not hearing that, and I get it. They probably get mad hearing me talk about this, but like I said, it's just my opinion. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I don't know. I just think it feels a little hypocritical that we complain so much, myself included, about where college athletics is right now and how the transfer portal is a mess and it's no longer amateur sports. But then then you have some people that are willing to parade this like, oh, no big deal. I don't think that's right, man. I think if you're gonna have that energy, you got to keep that energy. That's why I'm sticking with it, even though it is us. Go overseas and get some guys and grab some. I mean, that's my thing, agent. Like that's what people are going to start to do now. Because once you set a precedent, like, oh yeah, you take it to the courts, you get a restraining order, NCAA can't stop it. You don't think other teams are going to start now recruiting? It's like an expansion of the transfer portal. You're telling me other guys are going to say, oh, let's see who else. There might be G League guys that didn't quite, I guess, I don't know, find their footing just yet in the G League, and they might have some eligibility. I mean, it's always a domino effect. It always is. Don't ever think this is going to be a one-time thing. And again, I understand other people did it, and I disagree with that stuff too. I don't even think, even like the European guys that come play, I'm not a fan of that either.
Well, we just got a young lady here at South Carolina that's from France or somewhere, and she was on the French professional teams, but she played last night. South Carolina lost to Oklahoma. But
she's on y'all's team?
She's 18, but she's not like Badiako, who's 42.
Oh, okay. He's like probably 22. I mean, but no, I get what you're saying. But she played on France's national team.
Yeah, she's with them. However they do that over there, but
18 though, I feel like that's a little bit.
But see, I don't have a problem with that. Right.
That feels a little bit different, given she's 18. But did she play on their official team, or was it like their junior league, maybe?
No, she was a pro. I mean, she was a backup, but at 18, she's 6'7". I think her mother played WNBA basketball.
I mean, I guess I got to keep that same energy. I mean, if she played pro, but the problem is her age, though. I feel like that maybe that feels a little bit different, but I don't know. I guess I can't be hypocritical. I mean, if I said no pros, well, I shouldn't agree with that one. That just feels a little bit different than a guy. And my biggest thing is it just feels he was already here, but then chose to leave. No one told him to leave. If anything, a lot of people said, hey, he should stay. And he had NIL. When he was here in 2023, there was NIL. Now, it might not have been as lucrative as it is now, but he could have stayed and made NIL money. No one told him to leave. Again, I mean, I don't know, maybe circumstances or something else.
How much money do you think he gets right now?
I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, you got to think basketball, there's a lot less people on the roster. I mean, they're a part of the 20.5 revenue number. We have a competitive basketball program, and I think the assumption was Alabama would wait, what was it, man? I forgot the numbers of it. Expected to probably utilize maybe like that $14 million range just for football, maybe. And then you look at the remaining 6.5, and I'm probably wrong with that number, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, let's say that. Say you have 3 to 4 of that maybe guaranteed towards basketball, but you have how many guys on a roster? Like 15? I mean, from the revenue standpoint alone, not even including what the collective would bring, I mean, you're talking easily 300-400K probably easily cleared. But for somebody like him, I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably in the high 6-figure range, at least. I mean, season's halfway done, so that's probably taken into consideration. I don't know, but he's probably making some good money. But I'm just saying,
how much eligibility he has left?
This is his final year, because they also go off the clock. So he left with 2 years remaining. Now he's returning, so this would be considered like his final year anyway. So like he can't play anymore after this year. So I don't know, but I do know this is his final year. But I don't, in terms of how much he would make, I'm not sure. I mean, we do spend for basketball too, though. I know that. I mean, people can't forget about that. When you have a competitive basketball program, you got to spend on that. Supposedly the judge that approved this was a Bama booster. I don't know about that, Christian, but I do know that it was in Tuscaloosa. So I mean, and that's what everybody does. I mean, like, they bring it to a court, where they're located. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. To me, like, it just sets a precedent where why can't people just start doing this for anything? Well, NCAA ruled just like in a similar situation with Trinidad Chambliss. Aren't they just going to bring it to a court because NCAA denied him that year? Aren't they just going to try to bring it to a court in Oxford or in Mississippi?
Of course.
To get him eligible?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did Adam leave? I wish Adam was still in here. This is a perfect time. It's exactly why we have an official lawyer on the Miller's Edge, Lamparello Law. He might have stepped out.
I'm about to choke on that one.
No, I'm serious. Adam's officially part of the team. I talked to him yesterday, man. We're gonna start having some segments with him coming up, man. He keeps up with football, man. So, but yeah,
Way to go, Lamparello.
Yeah, we'll reach out to our official. I like that, man. I didn't have any like official legal representation. I got CPA, I got advisors, I got stuff like that. But I never, and knock on wood, I've been very fortunate outside of that car accident that wasn't even mine, but because my name was on there, that I was trying to get my money back. Hadn't really needed it, but see, I probably could have used Adam for that. And so now we got official representation. So next time I'm trying to recover some money that I'm owed. Yep. Calling Lamparello Law.
Well,
if other people are doing it, why are we so wrong for getting ahead of some of this instead of being behind it in so many things like we are in football?
That's Alabama. Alabama.
Well, Julius, I'll say this. You might have missed the things we said prior, but my thing was, again, I said I understand it's within our right to do it. That's totally their decision. If it's within the right, they can do it. This is just my opinion as I just sit here at my station on my talk show that we do every day. I'm just saying, in terms of the precedent that it continues to push, not saying it necessarily set the precedent, because you're right, there are other examples, and that's why I went back and said I don't agree with any pros. But for this situation, I have to keep that same energy. I can't sit here and complain about the transfer portal ruining college sports, ruining the amateurism of the sport, and then sit here and say, oh, but because it's Alabama, like, oh, yeah, well, we're doing it within the rules, no big deal. No, I'm saying that's their decision. I'm not saying we're wrong for doing it. I just don't agree with it, and I don't agree with anybody doing it, because I want college athletics to try to go back at least as close as they can be to being amateur sports, an opportunity for people to go from high school to develop not only as athletes but as young people, get their college degrees. And I know that day and age is long gone, but that's what I experienced. That's what I know and love about the sport. That's why I actually prefer college football over the NFL. But at this point, I'm about to start probably paying more attention to the NFL. I mean, college is starting to just feel like another NFL league. So to answer your question, just because here's another example. Just because like one state says doing drugs is okay, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with other people doing it around here. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. You know, I don't think just because other people do it, if it's not the best thing that's for the sport, I don't think you just say, oh yeah, let's just all do it, because that just furthers the issue. Plus, the thing about this, though, if Alabama goes on to even win it, say you go on to win, how many people you're going to be fighting that the whole time about, you know, was it ethical? Did it count? Should it be vacated? I just almost feel like, is it even worth it, personally? But again, that's for Nate Oates and all that administration. That's for them to figure out. I can just offer my opinion on it. I don't mean it matters, but yeah. And like I said, and whether people would disagree with that or not, I respect everybody's opinion, even the people that parade it. I mean, like, that's everybody's entitled. It's just from my perspective, I don't want to keep adding to this whole issue we have with college athletics. And I just feel like this just kind of falls in line with yet another, well, here we go, because we were seeing with football already. You know, okay, the NCAA denied a 6-year of eligibility. Oh, don't worry, we're just going to go take the lawyers and go to a courthouse and get that overturned. No, to me, I'm like, there's no rules. Like, there's literally no rules right now. We're supposed to, like, here's another thing, NIL. We're supposed to be operating off of a revenue cap. Like, we were over here celebrating, hey, they finally did it, man. It's going to work as a salary cap, $20.5 million for any school that elects to opt in, and they can allocate that money to whatever athletics that they want to. I mean, you're supposed to do it for everybody, but you get what I'm saying. You can pick and choose what goes to what. There we go. That's the step in the right direction. Well, boy, were we wrong. Oh, there's going to be the clearinghouse. Any deal that has a value of over $600 must be cleared by that committee. I mean, what happened to that? Like, how are we seeing teams like Texas and whoever, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, hell, probably even us too? How is it just continue? We're just pushing this whole thing. Like, no one abides by the rules. I mean, maybe I'm just old school, man. I'm just kind of over it, man. I just want to go back to just, hey, listen, man, give a kid a scholarship. I'm cool with NIL because I understand. Like, for years, they were making billions of dollars off people like myself, and my dad when he was in college. For me to go, you know, man, shoot, torn biceps that still bother me to this day. My neck is never comfortable. Torn hamstrings, a bunch of shoulders and ankles. And I couldn't even sit there, and if I wanted just to sign my autograph, I couldn't even do that without getting in trouble. That was stupid. So I'm okay with NIL, but like right now, I mean, you got dudes charging $100,000 just to take a visit. Like, come on, guys. You don't even do that in the NFL. Like, do y'all not hear how crazy that sounds? $100K just to go on a visit?
Any school is totally dumb if they did that. I mean, that's a dumb thing. I mean, really, I don't believe that. I mean, nobody's going to give $100 grand for a kid to come to school.
No, I appreciate the comment, Julia. Seriously, I appreciate it, man. and respect that. We can just have a normal conversation, man. How you feel about the playoff staying the same? And we didn't even get to that. Adding the Notre Dame rule. What was the whole rule with the Notre Dame thing? Because Notre Dame would have gotten in over Miami. Am I getting that right? But what is the exact rule? AJ said on the Dynasty, NCAA doesn't care because he heard from his political run that private equity is close to buying the NCAA. That's what's coming, guys. We're gonna get to a point where basically you just buy like these schools are private equities are ran like that, and you can buy in and invest, and that's how they're gonna be run, which might be cool. I mean, I'm a big finance guy. Maybe that's something cool. Maybe you actually can say, hey, I have shares in Alabama football. That might be kind of cool. But that goes completely against everything I just said about the whole college thing. But I'm saying if we're going to take this route, we just got to do it, man. It can't be dipping back and forth, man. Make the kids employees, start up a union, figure it out. I forgot to tell you that Craig Carter, is that his name? That's the guy we played earlier. Spent nearly 4 years in prison for running a Ponzi scheme, and his FS1 show got canceled for low ratings. Okay, well, that's that was the guy we played earlier. So that okay, well, makes sense. If they're in the top 12 auto bid, hold on, wait, let me play this. Matter of fact, I got it right here.
To the format. This is not something that just got agreed upon today. This is something that they agreed upon several years ago. Well, I guess a year ago, when they did their new TV deal for this next 6 years. So with the system that will be in place in 2026, the bracket would have looked different. Notre Dame would have gotten in and Miami would have been left out.
So this is the actual bracket that was. So he's saying Notre Dame would have gotten in. All right.
Because now, going forward, if Notre Dame is in the top 12, Notre Dame is in.
Wait, it's a specific rule. I didn't even finish watching this video. I was going to listen to it with you guys. It's a specific rule just for Notre Dame. Now that's crazy. So literally Notre Dame is the only one this applies to, that if they're in the top 12, they get an auto bid. Wow.
So Notre Dame was number 11 in this year's final ranking. So they would have gotten in and Miami would have been left out. The other difference is, instead of it just being the 5 highest ranked conference champs, they're changing that. It will be the champions of the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC, and the highest ranked champion of the other conferences.
All right. I do like that. I do like that piece. So that means one of these two schools is not going to be in there. And I hate it for the young guy, or the small, not young guys, smaller schools, but we've seen now in 2 years, the small schools don't fare well, even if they go 12-0 when they play the big schools. I mean, it's what it is. They need their own NIT type tournament for themselves. Hey, Christian, that's correct. This is just for Notre Dame as an independent school. Oh, what's up, Alexis? Thank you. I appreciate that, Alexis. Yeah, I'm not. Can Notre Dame just join a conference? Maybe. I mean,
so
which is
I think that would have been Duke instead of James Madison.
But I think that's functional. I think that if you, regardless of how stupid it is with the expanded conferences and how hard it is for most of these conferences to pick a winner, guaranteeing a spot for each of the Power Four, I think, is functional.
So I'm cool with that rule. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, because regardless of Duke should have been in, I don't think they'd have fared any better than JMU or Tulane, but they won their conference, their Power Four conference. You won it. There's no way you're supposed to hold them out. So they should have been in. Now, 11 and 12 shouldn't have been in over there. I mean, I'm just sorry. One of them should have been out. And ACC should have had another team in there, as weak as that conference is. But Duke, not Miami, won the ACC. So why would you hold them out? That's a shame.
Well, because Duke, I think, was what, like 7-5. So I mean, to be fair,
and
I'm with you, but why can't we just say the top 12 teams, that the teams that are ranked the top? Like, we just want the best teams. I would have preferred Duke in over James Madison, but also understand how people could have argued, why is a 7-5 team getting in over a team like
No,
Miami?
I'm with you on the top 12.
I just wanted to because listen, if you went off the top 12 teams, then you would have had both Notre Dame and Miami in, and I think both those teams would have been better options than JMU or Tulane or Duke.
I think Vanderbilt would have had something to say in that too. You don't think Vanderbilt was a top 12 team?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I mean, you take Vanderbilt too. I would have rather have seen Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, maybe even was it BYU or whoever it was that was kind of in that fringe. I mean, I'm just saying I think any of those three teams, hell, even maybe a Texas team that came on late. You know what I mean? They finally kind of figured some things out. Would have made for a much better playoff system than JMU, Tulane, or even like that Duke at 7-5. But I'm not mad at them because you would hope. Listen, if the ACC now fixes their deal about how they decide who plays in their conference championship game, the rule taking those 4 conference champions should work itself out. Because to me, Duke shouldn't even. I don't know how a 7-5 team. That whole thing was dumb in my opinion. The ACC is. There's just so many things that need to get fixed. And what's crazy is I think a lot of it. We could sit here for 5 minutes on this silly YouTube channel. Not silly, I love it, and you guys make it work. You get what I'm saying, though. We probably could figure out as a little group right here on this YouTube channel a lot of things that would probably fix all these problems. But these people that actually get paid all this money and sit on these stupid fancy ass meetings and panels and boards with their suits on just to look professional can't come up with the basic stuff that would probably fix this whole thing. They just sit there like they're sitting on their hands, just like smirking, like the guy that we had up on the screen earlier. I don't understand it. I'm saying what you're typing. Well, you're a very fair, just person, and I feel like that's kind of just our memo here on the show. So that's great minds think alike is what they say. But to me, the whole Notre Dame rule is just kind of like I understand their history as being independent, but the whole if they are a top 12 team, they do deserve a bit like that. Just feels weird to me, man. Like, no, I just think if you're going to be independent, that's cool. That's your history. Nothing wrong with that. But you just run the risk of being left out potentially, even though you probably should be in just like a year like this past year. But make sure that you're a top 9 or 10 seed. That way you don't have to necessarily worry about being left out. But all these little addendums and I don't know, nuances for once, it just feels, I don't know. It just feels weird. ACC tiebreaker rule is crazy. Yeah, they have to fix that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bow out of here. I've been here almost 2 hours. And
yeah, I'm about to get off. I'm going to get off. I got some stuff to do. I got a dog that's not feeling great, man, so I've been cleaning up left and right. But per usual, man, if you guys haven't, just hit that like button on the way out. We appreciate you guys. Seriously, thank you guys so much. Always hanging out with us during our radio hours, even when we get off air, man. Always fun chopping up with you guys, and just appreciate everything that you do for the channel. Monday, we'll be back rolling, same time as usual.
I got Seattle and New England in the Super Bowl.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. We'll talk about what happens Monday, but yeah, you got Seattle and New England.
Yeah, because Bo Nix broke his foot, so he's out. Then you get another Auburn graduate. What's his name?
Jared Stidham. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got fined $12,000 for hitting him in that preseason game. So big thanks to him.
No, that's he had nothing to do with that.
He was dramatic. I didn't even do anything. Actually, they said I drove him into the ground. They fined me $12,000. I did appeal it and they knocked it down to $2,500, but still. So I don't like him. I didn't have a problem with him because I played him my senior year. Then in the preseason game, it was cool. We were playing, but now I don't like him. He cost me $2,500. So I hope he loses because of that. He can
take this call.
Check. Take that call. We'll see you. Appreciate it. All right, good deal. On that note, we'll be out of here. We'll be back Monday. We'll talk some NFL maybe a little bit. Any updates that come up, and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We'll see you guys then.